Welcome to the Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast.
If you like a lot of wrestling on YouTube, join our cult. Hello, welcome to the Friday Night Spectacular that is the Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast. You're listening to the dulcet tones of Maffew, joined by the regulars as always, the dog wall, the dodgy Mike, Ross, his professional Mike, Jack the... Wait a minute, that's not Jack the Jobber.
Oh, no.
That's Mr. Tom Campbell. Per special request, Mr. Tom Campbell filling in this week. How the hell are you, mate?
1 sec, I've just got to log into my burner account on YouTube. Oh, Tom's on it. Week ruined, not watching, but thought I'd let you know before we start. I'm good. How are we, lads? Thanks for letting me come play.
You have burner accounts dedicated to criticising yourself.
Keeps me humble.
I saw a fantastic comment on last week's podcast where it was like, Ross doesn't even enjoy these anymore. He should write himself off the podcast indefinitely. Something along those lines. Like, if I'm not here, there's a reason I'm not here. Don't worry, everybody. I still do enjoy them. But it's been a turbulent week. Turbulent? When does the word turbulent start with CH? It does just this morning because I'm not awake yet. How are we all reacting to the news that Louise has left BBC Breakfast? Because I cannot believe it, me. After 20 years. 20 years, Tom.
This is news to me.
I know. In a time where Piers Morgan was shouting early in the morning when you couldn't be bothered with that at that time of the day, or any time of the day, Louise and Dan were there with a calm perspective on the news. Here's a pond full of ducks. There is your morning news. And now she's going away soon, and I'm heartbroken.
Is she going to GB News? I bet she's
imagine?
going to GB News. I think because every time a journalist leaves anywhere now in radio or TV, I go, "You're going to GB News, aren't you?" And then a few of my mates have popped up going, "Excited to be saying I'm working for GB News." So you're going, okay, right.
Oh,
so you saying that has made me go, oh, here we go.
She's got to do a Rick Rude on her way out. Just do something sassy.
What, turn up on like Good Morning Britain at the same time?
Yeah.
With a shaved face.
That'd be amazing.
I've recovered from Eamon Holmes leaving ITV for Sky News, to be honest with you, Ross. So
How long
that
ago
was 12
that?
years ago.
He walked in whilst Martin Stanford was reading the news, but he was still on the other channel at the same time. Just stood there in a white flannel shirt in the hallway.
Yeah. He went, where?
David, he doesn't work here.
And for some reason, he changed from a suit to a jean trousers and a jean shirt. You're like, why are you dressed like that? He goes, where is the macho man? Where is billionaire Ted?
I don't know why he left that lottery show, Eamon Holmes. They called him Layman Holmes there, if I was having a go at him. Layman Holmes, ha ha ha. Because the way he says the word pounds is tailor-made for a money-related show. Just points. Very, very, very satisfying. Points.
I think they ran out of money on the lottery program, ironically, because the budget for that was hilariously slashed a while ago.
That's such a funny sentence. We haven't got any money for the lottery show. If only there was some sort of way we got public funding for
There's a
this.
way we could put a bet on to try and get some money quick.
As I read out the numbers, the presenters are there going, no. Oh, well.
What a start. What a podcast.
Well,
what a
that
great
was
podcast.
That's the news in the real world, in reality.
This echoes the classic SmackDown review.
I was going to say, yeah. So
on the classic SmackDown review, which is on tomorrow on the podcast feed. What a weekend! What a great podcast. Where for some reason, when Maffew talks about like the news from the year that we're talking about, in the year of our Lord, there's a lot of news about the news at 10 and the changing of the 9 o'clock news at the moment. Very Trevor McDonald heavy SmackDown podcast. Another weird sentence that I find myself saying. It's on tomorrow on the podcast feed, by the way.
it certainly is. But today, it's wrestling. The news: Leo Rush announces retirement from wrestling. Rush, who was signed to New Japan, was a shock competitor in the Casino Battle Royale at AEW Double or Nothing, but the former WWE Cruiserweight Champion has revealed he suffered a serious AC injury in the match. And despite the setback, Rush says AEW still eager to sign him, but he's going to take a step away, focus on his young family and his own mental health. Good for him in the long run. Absolutely sucks that happened in his minute and a half appearance or so. I mean, that's some bad timing.
He was in there. He was so good in that match, like for the briefest of times that he was in there. And I think the fact that Tony Khan put out a statement and says they were very close to getting him in full time. Before
He'll be back.
retired.
Don't worry about everybody.
You'll be back.
It's all a ruse like it was a few years ago. That dastardly so-and-so Leo Rush. No, I'm joking. Obviously, all the best to him, because obviously stepping away from the wrestling when you want to is a thing that not doesn't happen all too often, really, these days. Or historically, I should say. It's happening more and more these days. I've just said completely the wrong thing. All the best to Leo Rush and his family.
We knew what you...
We know where you were going.
Oh, yeah, we sincerely hope you're all right. But yeah, it's not often you hear stories like that. People leave them at the almost peak. Like Monty Brown was one of them, and we're still waiting for him to return.
He did that fiery promo on Twitter a little while ago, and everybody went, "Oh my God, why aren't you here? Come back, please, Monty. All is forgiven."
It's a shame because like he's back, he's come back. Oh, it's just one promo. Oh. Was it to big up someone? Was it Lance Archer?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was to big up the Murder Hawk.
And it's like, Murder Hawk's like, yay! He was like, no, move out of the way. We want to see that promo again. But take care, Leo Rush.
Yeah.
Fightful Select. It's an interesting thing happened this week. They did an update on the tag team known as AOP and said that when people try to contact them, they describe themselves as retired. So that's why Fightful did a little investigation, I want to say. And then they tweeted out, AOP saying, ain't done yet, bitches, with a photo of them alongside Paul Ellering. So I don't know what the point of them goes like, no. Due to reports of us saying we're retired, where the source is ourselves, no, we are not retired.
Isn't this what like Cadbury's do when there's a chocolate bar that's sort of running low on sales? When they'll put out a press release saying, "Oh, we're going to stop making twirls in 6 months," and then everybody does a big petition to bring twirls back, and then the sales go back up. This is basically AOP being the Cadbury's twirl of the tag team wrestling world.
Yeah. It's like what Disney used to do with the videos and goes, we're putting the Little Mermaid back in the vault. Won't be able to buy this for another few years. And people are like, no, Little Mermaid.
If Volta Disney is watching this podcast, by the way, can you buy WWE? If Volta Disney himself, because
Wait, Volta Disney.
I've just said it, Maffew. I don't know who runs Disney these days. Because I want a theme park, right? I just want a wrestling-related theme park, right? And Volta Disney, whoever runs Disney these days, I know you're watching this podcast. Make it happen for goodness sake, so we can go over there and have some fun on some roller coasters. Not too scary ones, just a moderate amount of fun.
While you're at it, bring out Lady and the Chops. Thank you, Volta Disney.
From the underground freezer unit under Epcot Center, Volta Disney.
Tie it in with AEW as well. Stadium Stampede. Who was fighting in the freezer? Wardlow and Jake Hager. Just at the back. There's Volta. Old Volta.
Volta Disney.
Topples down on top of Jake Hager. I don't know where that came from. I just need to say it. Let's manifest something. Get a WWE theme park done. AOP, though, good for them for saying the word bitches, because that means they're good at wrestling.
That's right, Ross. What a Fantasia idea that was. An individual sought in theft at WWE Thunderdome. Sadly, there's no development on this since happened a few days ago. But yeah, someone was caught twocking stuff from the WWE Thunderdome. They caught him with titles in his bag and stuff like that. And people were speculating which title it was that he had possibly stolen. And would we notice?
Do you reckon it was the same guy who got Chris Jericho's belt?
What, the waiter at the steakhouse?
He's traveling around America.
Sir, you've dropped your replica title. Oh, wait, that's actual belt?
Yeah.
Here you go, Jericho. I brought it to you. Isn't this great? Jericho tweeting, that guy stole my belt. No, you put it on your limo and drove off, you drunk mess. No, he stole it. What a fantastic week that was. Oh, my God.
Do we know whose title it was? I think I saw a news headline saying, like, WWE Champions belt stolen. So it suggested to me, because I didn't click on it. I regret doing so now.
I mean, I hoped you had.
Yeah. I'm hoping we record this beforehand, but I'm hoping on SmackDown tonight, Roman Reigns comes out with like a piece of paper with WWE written on it just over his shoulder. Everything's fine. Still head of the table.
Imagine how big D energy if you stole the Tribal Chiefs Championship.
D meaning dead energy.
Can mean anything you want, Tom.
Romulus Reigns comes for you. You've got a problem on your hands.
Oh, you do.
He goes, who dared steal my title? I am the table. I'm the head of the...
I am the table.
Oh, Walter Disney. Oh, you know what? You can keep my title for a bit. It's all right.
Why haven't they turned it into an angle? Just doctor the CCTV footage to make the guy like bigger and stuff like that, and then just make it into an angle. Make it like it was planned.
Put the CCTV footage on SmackDown and go, GTV. There you go. We're back.
Or, we haven't got any audio recording, but oh wait, Sean Stasiak just notified us. We do. And everyone young's like, what are you talking? Who's GTV? What? Whatever. And also, to future-proof this segment and the podcast, Aleister Black is either completely done with WWE or he's set to return by the time this podcast comes out.
What is all that about? He can't go back. I'm sorry, Aleister. Have a backbone. This feels weird saying this to someone who, is just out of a job and probably wants money. But still, they've messed you around for long enough, Aleister. Don't go back. It won't change, Aleister. It won't change. I feel passionate about this one.
Yeah, his options surely are great. Like, now he's free of WWE. Tommy End will be fine. Tommy End will be great. Axel Tischer from Alexander Wolf is off to Germany to go and, give the German wrestling scene, the European wrestling scene, a big kick up the 80s, and I reckon send Tommy End with him. That there is the foundation of an excellent European wrestling revival. There.
Did we see him on Renee Paquette's oral sessions?
I didn't know. Was it a lovely chat?
It was a lovely chat, and just how weird it must be to be a wrestler who has a big build-up as he had over the past couple of months, and how they would put it on TV and then take it off for a week, and he was like, what's going on? He's like, we're just letting it breathe, which gives off the impression that they had no idea what they were doing with it. But he had this big sort of, the plans for it were really interesting, the little things he would do in the background of his camera shots when he was locked in that room, and the stuff on his attire. Like, he really tried to make things work, and it was just another tale of creative just hampering this very creative man from doing creative things. It was just a heartbreaking listen and a weird listen, because being a wrestler must be a horrible life. Money must be nice. The body must be nice. The fame must be nice. But
it's kind of that. It's such a gap, isn't there, between like when you're sort of doing the indie stuff and it's like £5, £10, maybe a hot dog if you're lucky, and then you've got like you're in millions but you're miserable.
Yeah.
Like, you want that sort of sweet spot in the middle. A lot of people say like they'll treat WWE as like a paid holiday, where they'll go there for a couple of years, make a big load of bank, and then get out again. True.
That was so wonderful. I thought I'd just let it breathe.
We'll come back and speak about it in 2 weeks' time. That's what we'll do.
That's right, yes. No, wait. Aleister Black has re-signed. Wait, I had to do the camera angle there. You can see my bloody mouth. Has not re-signed. People who are listening to the audio version of this, I don't know what's happening, so I'm going to move on. That was horrible.
It was the Mo gag from The Simpsons where he puts the glass in front of
No,
his
because
face.
that was funny, Tom. We'll move on. That was the news.
No, it's not the news. We need to speak about Triple H, lads. That call.
Yeah.
The cerebral assassin pants, which I'm going to call him from now on, because that tweet didn't do very well, as I was hoping on Twitter last night. But
somebody didn't have their Weetabix before they started that press call, did they? What a grumpy boy!
I fully recommend everybody listen. If you haven't already, get on sort of Fightful's YouTube channel. I listened to it on Triple H last night. There was something in Triple H's tea last night, which was making him a bit catty with the wrestling journalists and fans as well. Because apparently us as fans now, Maffew, we're not allowed to have fun and fantasy book where our favourite storylines might go in the future and stuff. You know how the real purpose of NXT was sort of like the show before the show, so you got to know the superstars before they made it to Raw or SmackDown. We can't have the fun of going like, let's fantasy book, I don't know, Aleister Black from back in 2017 on NXT. Let's have fun where he could go on the main roster. We ought to sit back, Maffew. We ought to watch what happens on NXT, and if we don't enjoy it, we must just stop watching. It was an incredible thing.
That's what I've done.
Well, yeah.
Thanks, Triple H.
It's what a lot of people have done. That's why they had to change nights, isn't it? It was a weird thing to say from Triple H. It was, what was up with him? What's wrong,
He was very
Paul?
cross. And then they asked him about the NWA Women's Show at the end of August and said, will you guys be working with the NWA? Because Mickie James kind of put out this comment alluding to any women in the world, contractually obligated or not, can come on down. So they kind of suggested, like, would WWE work with the NWA on this all-women show? And Triple H then was like, look, we did an all-women show. We might do another. We probably won't. If we did an all-men show, we'd get stick for that as well. And then he said, all the best women work for WWE. And if they don't, they want to work for WWE. He was a catty man last night.
I haven't heard this. This sounds
Vince McMahon was sat there with a gun just off the side. You will say this, damn it. He did sound like what we hear about Vince McMahon. But that storyline thing about having to go at the fans, because, remember when wrestling was like sort of all about storylines and stuff, and you would wonder where the storyline was going to go, and that's what kept you watching. It's like him having to go at the fans. It's like having to go at somebody for watching Coronation Street and wondering what Gail Platt's going to do in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. That's the entire point of the thing. I don't just tune into wrestling to watch people with kick pads kick people. How boring's that? I want storylines and characters, Paul. Why have we stopped this, you tosser? We need Volta Disney to take NXT off Triple H's hands. I swear to God, I haven't had a drink. I've had a new hay fever. I've had a new hay fever tablet, Morrison's own brand, this morning because
that's going to do it then.
They've cut the grass around here, and I feel a bit lightheaded. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it's going to make for an interesting podcast. But that conference call from Triple H was strange.
Miserable man.
I need to check that out.
Oh, it's so funny. He gives off the energy of either somebody that, you know, maybe had an argument with the wife before he went on, or somebody who, I don't know, works for a company that has been sacking people left, right, and centre and getting a lot of stick for it. And either way, the energy is something else. He is so incredibly stroppy.
Imagine his working life though. It's like he builds these great things on NXT. Well, he used to back in the day. I know it's not what it used to be now, but like, and then they go to the main roster, and in one night, all of that fantastic work is just smashed into the ground by Vince McMahon. It must be so frustrating.
I get it, and so like you're kind of caught between the devil and the deep blue sea because he's your dad, he's your dad-in-law, and you're trying to appease him, but you're trying to run your brand your own way, and then at the same time you're getting these media calls. I imagine he just sat there. I imagine he sat there to the media call and just went, "Hi Dave, how you doing?"
Did you hear Dave Meltzer's response to his answer about he did like a parallel to sort of call-ups from NXT to the main roster to people in the NFL sort of being great in college or something and getting called up the NFL and not quite making it. He went on this big long rant that lasted about 2 minutes, then Dave Meltzer just went, "Okay, thank you." Just pulled his pants down. It was fantastic. Meltzer was like, "I'm not buying this from you, Paul. What a load of tosh."
What a weird comparison to make, to go, oh, well, it happens to NFL players. They get called up to a big club and they don't get booked the right way. Like, what? Like, Eli Manning, what, gets a postman gimmick? Like, I just...
Yeah.
How do you just that's a whole different world. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Wayne Brady, creative's got nothing for you. Just... Yeah. What a strange... He was on one. Maybe he had the same hay fever tablets as you, right?
Hey, I tell you,
if
you want to feel a bit loose in the brain, just get some Morrison's hay fever analogy relief 10 milligram tablets. 10-minute tweddle. 10-minute tweddle? 10 milligram tweddle.
10 milligram tweddle. 10-minute tweddle. That's how rumours get started, mate.
Hey,
hashtag 10-minute tweddle.
Penny nose.
10-minute tweddle. Let's let that breathe.
Let's let that breathe and start the next segment.
Everybody get excited for the Cultaholic Hall of Fame.
Now it's time for everyone's favourite segment, the Hall of Fame. And in condescending... Oh, sorry, I had to look at it. In condescending order from last week, Dr. Benji FM, 18. Now, I thought that meant 18%. Wait. Braun Strowman is a train, 68. Alistair Jack, 112. Yes.
I need the context of this. Explain to me, please, Maffew.
Yes. Alistair. Oh wait, no, it's not the puppet, is it? No, sorry, I got confused. It was Jack last week decided, because of the big news being Alistair Black's release, decided to do an impression of Alistair Black, and it was. It's like, no, I think I could do the accent. And it basically sounded like the Swedish chef. Although at the time, so I think it was Sam who filled it that last week, said like, "Oh, Alistair Jack." I'm like, "Yeah," and so because I'm a dick, I started going like, "Hey, yeah," like this in the background while Jack was talking, like doing swing kicks or whatever. As Jack said, "Yo, I used to do jitsu and all," and so I was like, "Yeah," and I was dying laughing, and Jack was not laughing at all, which only made it funnier, as we all know.
That's never happened before. Stop it. That doesn't happen on the podcast.
That never happens. Jack doing his best Triple H impression. I love you, Jack. It's all good. It's all banter. But that means the winner of last week was Sam, because mine was Braun Strowman as a train, because I missed that. So that means replacement Sam Driver, Mr. Tom Campbell. You get first pick this week for your Hall of Fame.
For me, it is going to be the new Netflix special from Bo Burnham, Inside. It dropped the other week. I went home to see my mum and dad for the first time since Christmas last weekend. And my mum was like, Tom, you've got to watch this Bo Burnham thing. And I'd heard about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, if we get time, we'll watch it. And then I was scrolling through TikTok on the morning and somebody had used one of the songs in a TikTok because I'm trendy. And I went, oh, that's from the... Okay, I'm intrigued. So we watched it that day. And oh, my God, it's brilliant. It's so good. So Bo Burnham was planning this big comeback tour this year, but because he'd been away from comedy for 5 years. He was suffering panic attacks and just generally wasn't in a great place mentally. So he took 5 years away, was planning a big comeback tour this year, or last year, and then the world caught fire. So he did this special that he made over 12 months it's made up to be like a guest, like a house. I think it's like something off his actual house, but it's this tiny little room with like a bed and a cooker in it and stuff. And he films this special in there, and it's full of songs and it's full of pathos, and there's bits that maybe roll around laughing that are really connected with me and through lockdown, and there's bits that just made me cry because I was like, yeah, I get it, because it's all about like the ups and downs of the last 12 months, and it's all raw and on there in terms of like his reactions to stuff. Like there is a bit where he just bursts into tears because he's just really struggling, and he keeps it in, and it's beautifully produced, so well put together, and slightly hyperbolic. I think it's probably the best thing that's been made during lockdown. Like there's nothing that I've seen on Netflix over the last 12 months that is really connected and adequately told, like the story of sort of creatives working isolated from the world, like Bo Burnham did. So my Hall of Fame, it probably won't win. It'll be something silly. But for me, I just wanted to put it on record somewhere that Bo Burnham's Inside is 100% Hall of Fame worthy in my eyes. I don't know whether you guys have seen it yet.
No, not yet. It's on my watch list, though.
It's good. It'll hit you, like it'll dig a trench in your soul, but it's ever so good. It's ever so good.
No, I've seen a lot of people I'm friends with talking about it, so maybe I should actually follow their advice and watch it.
Watch it, but like I said, be ready because it is a bit of an emotional journey. Like it's a bit of a trip to go on. I won't spoil too much of it for you because and you listening as well / watching, but it's Hall of Fame worthy, and it's my pick for the Hall of Fame this week.
That was really deep and meaningful, Tom. You should have gone last.
It ain't winning, but I'm just glad to talk about Bo Burnham with my mates. That's fine.
I like his name.
It's good, isn't it? He's a good lad.
Bo Burnham, Bo Burnham, Uptown. So my pick for Hall of Fame this week, because I honestly can't think of anything now worth sharing with the cultaholic public, the cultamaniacs as they do not call themselves, and because you two just brought so much joy into my life there, I'm going to go with Grumpy Triple H. All right, instead of starting off like, good evening, gentlemen, he starts off the, I haven't seen it, but I imagine it started off with a 20-minute ramble. You're looking at the cerebral assassin. Comes out, it's all about the game player, and he has to spit water all over Meltzer and Alvarez. And throws a bottle of Sean Ross sap just because. Stares at Ryan Satin. Ryan Satin's like, I work here. He's like, I don't care. Not for much longer, pal.
That's a good shout with Grumpy Triple H.
Yeah. And he as with the preamble, he realizes, like, I'm not going to get a lot of people asking me good questions, am I? Like, I'm not going to have people going, so Triple H, the buy rate, all these people were released. It's like, Triple H's like, I really want someone to ask me, like, what my favourite album is. What are my Desert Island disc? Or what's my Desert Island graps?
Yeah!
Do I have to
on Twitter, he didn't tell me.
Do I have to release myself to get on that show, Tom? You're not even on the call.
How so destroying is it a public tweet to try and get a guest, Tom, and it doesn't pay off? I've tried. Renee Paquette is my Everest.
The worst part is when you do it and then you get a bunch of likes and retweets on it and people going, hey, here we go, this is happening. And it's like, no, don't. Just let it breathe. Don't let it...
The
don't
worst
acknowledge it.
The worst one is, the worst one is people like tweets like, say, someone will go on Twitter, Renee Paquette, you should do Straight to Hell with Ross on Cultaholic, and she'll like that tweet, which she's done 3 times. I'm thinking, she's interested, she's in, she's coming in, She's coming in for some straight to hell.
There
You
has
send her
to be a better way that we can approach this, rather than going like straight down the M1. If there's a scenic route we can get to Renee Paquette, we should figure that out, mate.
Yeah, if anyone knows her, that's opening up to a weird...
Well, surely you've interviewed somebody. that knows her.
Oh, yeah, a few now. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm on that level with people I could go, oh, you know that Renee Paquette. Would you mind just dropping her a line?
But surely you've struck up enough conversation and struck up enough discourse with them that, you know, if you approach them afterwards, because let's do a bit behind the curtain on this. There's been a few guests that I've liked, and I've had somebody on. I'll give a shout out to Nick Aldis, actually. Nick Aldis was great for this. We had Nick Aldis on Desert Island Graps, and he was lovely. And then afterwards, we chatted and we laughed about stuff. And I said, hey, look, any chance, I'd love to get a few more NWA guys. I just slid into his DMs. Any chance to get a few more NWA guys? It'd be really great to talk about you guys more. And then, bless him, half an hour later, I had an email with it's them. They're all up for doing it. Get in touch. So I think there's a way we can do it. There's a scenic route we can take to the heart of your Everest.
That was a weird sentence, wasn't it? Renee Paquette is my Everest.
Which metaphor shall we use, Tom? All of them.
All of them at the same time. Why kill two birds with one bush? Let's do it all there. The funny thing is about the Triple H thing again. I'll go back to Grumpy Triple H.
But back to the theme. Yes,
Think about the premise. It's like, okay, it's a media call. Hi, guys. So any questions about the product? Yeah, we don't think we like the product. Oh, just watch it. It's fine. Don't have an opinion on it. What do you think about this?
You should play along with it going, wow, guys, what a great episode of Raw, right? Go on. Did you like it? I know you did. And he's like, well, we had some issues with it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. No, Triple H went, 5-star matches all around. Yeah, thanks. Great job, Triple H. Cheers.
The great thing was the questions he was asked weren't even that hard-hitting or weren't even that sort of bitchy, if you want. They were just sort of... they were about sort of interesting topics like the old women's wrestling pay-per-view for NWA and stuff like that, but he just went off on one. No one told him to.
When you're in a bad mood, though, you're waiting for something, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're waiting, aren't you?
Yeah. Backstage is like, look, if one of those guys asks me again about the women's pay-per-view, Velveteen Dream, or anything else, or the Booker T match at WrestleMania 19, that's it. I'm so wrong. So, if you could book Booker T for the women's pay-per-view with a NXT... All right, that's it.
Clink.
That's it. I'm going to hire you all to work for the new journalism fed I'm working. Oh, really? Yeah, so I can fire all of you. Oh, Triple H, that's not very nice. My next question is, why do you suck so much? Right, that's it, I'm leaving. I've got to see Grumpy Triple H. It sounds amazing.
He is good.
If you don't like it, stop watching. Oh, okay, bye. All the journalists should have stood up and left the room. Good idea. Anyway, so that's my pick. Ross, I'll stop laughing at my own stupid stuff. Ross, what is your pick for Hall of Fame this week, mate?
My heart dropped when you picked Grumpy Triple H because in my mind was sassy Dave Meltzer's response to Grumpy Triple H's long-winded answer. Just that fantastic... I have to get a stopwatch out in time. It felt like 2 minutes of just solid drivel from Triple H going, NXT call-ups. It's like for going from college football to the NFL and then somehow it just doesn't pan out. Couple of seconds of silence. Thanks. Okay. No.
Wow.
Everyone must have been laughing on the call because it was clear that Meltzer was like, right, you've just served me up a steaming pile of absolute shit, and I'm not going to buy Triple H, but let's thank you for your time anyway. He just sort of chuckled as well. I'll go for sassy Dave Meltzer. It's a wonderful, wonderful interaction between the pair, and Triple H was very friendly at the start towards Dave Meltzer, which I wasn't expecting. I just assumed that everybody, well, not everybody outside of Chris Jericho, because that's clearly one of his sources in the wrestling business, just hates Dave Meltzer.
Do you think this is where Dave Meltzer's finally learnt that less is more? Because, as we said on the news the other day, Ross, Dave talks how jazz happens. Everything he's doing is just a riff. It's just beatboxing. But I'm hoping he's learnt that less is more from that little line.
Yeah,
that'll be great. Suddenly, all of a sudden, Dave Meltzer's really smart, and after all these years of like losing it and just going off on tangents, he's good now. Thanks, Triple H. And when Triple H's mind's like, oh no, Dave's having to go with it. All right, that's it.
Wait, when you've been usurped by Dave, that's a bad day.
It's a bad Dave. It'll be a cold Dave in hell. when Dave Meltzer gets the one up on Triple H.
David L.
I hope the next conference call, Dave is like did a parody of Triple H's theme. And when Triple H is like, next up we have Dave Meltzer from Figure 4 Online, just plays, dun, time to play the Dave. And then Triple H has no idea what's hit him.
All the journalists get together and go, right, you played this song on this call. Hail Satan!
I'm just a
Hail
Sean
Satan.
Rossap. Sean Rossap!
He's a serious guy. That sounds like serious.
Yo, we dealing with the Sean Rossap. Doesn't work.
What other journalists are there? What other journalists are there?
Can I think of Sean?
I'm not looking through it. Like,
I can only think of Sean Fightful from rossap.com right now. That's all I can think of.
To be fair,
he's a Wade Keller. Queen Dynamite with a laser beam. Right, we need one for Finn Martin, then we can move on.
Finn.
My name is Finn, and I love to complain. Those 3 picks are your picks. Your picks alone. To reiterate, Bo Burnham's latest special, Grumpy Triple H and Sassy Dave Meltzer. If you want to vote for one of those picks, and why would you, please go to patreon.com/Cultaholic and place your vote now.
This is This Week in the Wrestling. It's this bloody week in the wrestling.
The bloody week in wrestling. SmackDown. Roman Reigns opens the show and says he's changed his mind about the Usos tag title match. He's going to allow the rematch to go ahead and warns the Usos they'd better win. The Usos lose to the Mysterios, but Jimmy's shoulder appears to be off the mat before 3. Roman is furious with them backstage and says they'd better fix this before the end of the show. He calls Jay Jimmy. Jay corrects him, but Roman asks if that even matters.
Roman Reigns makes me feel like a child watching pro wrestling again, I tell you. Because when his music hit at the start of this episode of SmackDown, my mind immediately went back to what happened last week, where Jimmy Uso was pushing for a tag team title match, even though he knew, and more importantly, Jay knew, that the Tribal Chief would not be happy with that. So when the Tribal Chief's music hit at the start of SmackDown, I was saying, my God, Jimmy, what is going to happen to you tonight? You must be absolutely terrified of the Tribal Chief. Roman Reigns is fantastic. I don't care what anyone says. I know everyone says.
He's utterly brilliant.
Everyone says it, but still, I don't care what you say.
Yeah. No, we're agreeing. I don't care.
All right, Grumpy Triple H. Just watch it. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with Grumpy Triple H because, look, just watch SmackDown.
Yeah, just
All
watch
the journalists going, yeah, fair enough.
I would. Imagine a life where you could just watch SmackDown. An AEW.
day.
Oh, just bin off Raw and NXT. Fantastic.
By the way, Raw NXT coming up soon. Chad Gable thinks the Street Profits have been on a downward trajectory recently. I think I did a good job with that word. Trajectory.
Nailed it.
Trajectory.
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 I said it with a CH at the start of the podcast, but that's because of 10 milligrams of hay fever tablet.
Damn it. I have no excuse. They're on a downward spiral by 9 Inch Nails and offers to train them. They are insulted and laugh at Gable. Later, Otis demands they apologise to Gable. They refuse, so he slaps forward and slams Dawkins into some crates.
I enjoyed these little... It was like SmackDown was a fine tapestry. What am I saying here?
Oh,
there was a couple of threads.
No, go along with it, go on.
A couple of threads gathering through the whole show, Bonnie lads. That's what we're saying here. One was Roman and Jay and Jimmy. The other was Gable and Otis and the Street Profits. And I enjoy... Because, to be honest with you, I don't really like the narrative that Chad Gable has made everything better for Otis since they aligned with each other. Because he hasn't. It's gone the other way. He was winning Money in the Bank and kissing Mandy Rose on WrestleMania before Chad Gable came around. I don't know if anyone else is bothered by this, but I'm clearly just a sad man.
No, it's true. It's a good shout. Like, Otis's 2020 was far superior in terms of placement on the roster than 2021. I agree with that.
I agreed to begin with, but then they did the heel turn. I'm like, heel Otis? All right. But I actually liked it because I had some very good matches on SmackDown, the tag division. That's kept it going and the non-Roman Reigns bits. So I like it, but I don't really remember the segment, even though it was only a few days ago. So who was good and who was bad here?
Street Profits are good.
Are they? They sound like not very nice people.
Nah. That's what WWE does, isn't it? We're supposed to laugh at the heels, even though it could be construed in some circles as bullying.
It's like, hi, I'm Gable with a genuine request because you lost last week. Do you want some help? Stupid person. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm looking forward to the matches, though.
Yeah.
Carmella. Jesus Christ. Carmella.
Karma.
It's like Nigella Lawson calling the microwave a microwave.
Camila, as used to be known, Penelope, beats Liv Morgan, the only remaining Riot Squad member, in a short match.
Zinger line from Liv Morgan here that I've got written down. She's going to make Carmella from a 7 to a 10 with 3 boots to the face. Take that one, Carmella, you fit woman.
I'm getting it. 7 to 10.
So, because Carmella's gimmick is she's very, very pretty.
Yeah.
So she's a 10 out of 10 in her own mind. But Liv Morgan says she's a 7, but she's going to make her a 10 with 3 boots to the face because 7 plus 3 is 10.
Oh.
Wrestle maths.
I thought it was going to be... See, in my head, it made more sense. You think you're a 10, I'll take it down to 7. Every time she gets kicked, she gets uglier.
But Liv Morgan's mind, kick into the face will make Carmella prettier, which is a double zinger.
I like that. That's layered. That's layered, that is.
An onion burn.
Yes, you go throw onion.
Scrub the onion on her.
Yes. It's as she counts down from 10, 9, 8. Bianca Belair cuts a promo explaining that Bayley's constant laughter has started to annoy her, and she wants a match at Heck in a sec. Bayley appears on the Tron and accepts, and then all the screens in the Thunderdome become images of Bayley laughing like that bit they did with Randy Orton and The Fiend a few months ago.
So have they just boiled Bayley down to just the woman that laughs?
Basically, yeah. But I still think that Bayley overshadows Bianca me in all these segments, and just in terms of general charisma and cutting off the promos and stuff like that. I think I know that she's been doing it a hell of a lot longer at this level than Bianca, but I think that Bianca's getting a bit shown up by Pamela here.
Well, you must have loved this bit then, Ross, because Bayley looked crap.
Do you reckon?
Well, not because, sorry, that's very rough.
Annoying heel, isn't it?
Yeah, all the charisma was removed, so she'd just be evil, bad person. He, I laugh at you. So.
Shades of Matt Hardy as well. I got flashbacks to that stream we did at the start of Cultaholic where I watched the same 3-second clip for 10 hours. That was fun.
I forgot about that. Have you recovered from that yet?
It was just a 4-night job, and then just drank a lot of whiskey and had some night all together and knocked myself out. I couldn't sleep for 4 nights after because it wasn't the noise. It was when I closed my eyes, I saw the 3-second clip of Hardy. It was weird, a weird time. Don't. When people say YouTube's not a real job, viewer, don't believe them.
Yeah, Dad.
Yeah. Corbin faces Nakamura again. Corbin wins with a handful of tights, but Rick Boogs stands in his way when he goes to retrieve his crown. Nakamura kicks him in the head and leaves with the crown again.
I'd like to give a shout out to Pat McAfee in this segment here because he adds so much to SmackDown. Just my general enjoyment of watching the show is upped just by the way Pat McAfee reacts to certain things. Rick Boogs being one of the prime examples. He makes Rick Boogs fantastic on SmackDown. But yeah, King Corbin, harsh done by again, wins the match but still loses his crown. Poor guy. Poor guy. Poor guy.
Say poor guy again.
Poor guy.
There we go. Because I have nothing to say about it. Commander Aziz is banned from ringside for the IC title match, but attacks Kevin Owens backstage on his way to the ring. Like Steve Austin not be able to get in the ring with Rikishi, but attack him in the parking lot on SmackDown this Saturday with me and Tom. This allows Apollo Crews to retain in a hard-fought match. Sami Zayn runs to the ring afterwards and hits Owens with the Helluva Kick, with the feud that will never die.
It will not, will it? Relentless Kevin Owens now, though, apparently. They were saying that a lot, like he's sponsored by energy drinks. Relentless Kevin Owens. so you can go even longer than Dolph Ziggler. That was a stream. Remember that callback from the last time I was on the podcast about 7 years ago, Maffew? I enjoyed the match, and I enjoyed the sort of the shocking finish of all the DVD. But then you remember that Kevin Owens was attacked by the new cerebral assassin, Commander Aziz, because now, of course, Triple H has lost that title after that conference call.
And yeah, any thoughts on SmackDown, by the way, Tom? Whereas with it, leaving you left out there?
It still remains. Oh, you guys were explaining it wonderfully. I didn't want to butt in. It still remains one of the best produced shows that the WWE does, and I just find it amazing how you've got these three so distinctive brands. We'll get into the other two in a second, and how two of which are coming out of the same flipping building just a couple of days apart, and how the product can look and feel and hit so different. It almost deserves a study done. Like in terms of like how it is the way that it. Why is it the way it is? Like surely Raw, like when they do the draft, which is what has been rumored and innuendoed. When they do the draft, can they maybe mix it up with some of the writers and staff behind the scenes as well? Maybe some people that work on SmackDown, hoy them over onto the Raw side for a little bit as well. Just I feel like. Not so much to benefit SmackDown, but to benefit Raw. Like some of that energy they have on SmackDown with some of the segments they put together with Roman Reigns. I know Paul Heyman is doing all those and has his fingers in a lot of those, which is why they're so brilliant. But some people from that side over to the Raw side to spice that show up is desperately needed.
Was I speaking to you earlier this week, Tom, where I was like, WWE need to release how much input the networks have on their shows?
I don't think that was with me.
It was with somebody on this
but
channel.
That's an interesting debate to have, though. Like how much Fox and NBC or USA Network, I suppose NBC, say who goes where and who pushes what. I think maybe that might say something. But I mean, unless NBC are saying, "Can you please book Raw really badly?" You know, like it's the producers. Like let's make a show that's really bad and see how we do. The frustrating thing is they'll make money regardless now. Like the show could be Randy Orton picking his nose for 3 hours and it'll still do over $1 million. Like they'll now make money to spite themselves. So there's no reason for them to be any more than what they currently are. But we'll talk more about that when we get into Raw.
The content era. That's what I'm going to put it as.
The content and the content era.
And the contempt era. Yeah, as long as they're doing all... Just as long as they're making content, they're making money, and that's a weird thing. Because surely, like, Raw and SmackDown, especially, the final say is Vince McMahon. So that they've got that common thread to Vince McMahon, but then they've got the uncommon thread, which is the network. So surely that's where things must change. Because it is weird. Because, I don't know. Let's stop caring.
That's the spirit. Yeah, the Mysterios look like they're going to win again in the main event. However, Roman Reigns comes out for the DQ. Roman beats up Ray and attacks Dominic unconscious. Jimmy objects to this and leaves, but a conflicted Jay stays with Roman as he hits Dominic with a powerbomb to close the show.
Can I just say that the Mysterios came off as heels earlier in the night? I thought they got the messy victory, we'll call it, with the shoulder up. They knew the shoulder was up, and still in their gear, we saw them trying to chicken poo their way, hightail their way out of the arena, still in their gear. Which wrestler with any honour does that, Mysterios? You went down in my estimations when you did that. But it was good to see Roman Reigns see his cousins look like they were going to lose, and then just cause that to happen still via DQ, but prevent it from happening via pinfall to make his family and therefore his table look weak.
And that being said as well, I still love the idea of. Am I right in thinking they're building to Romulus Reigns versus Ronald Mysterious for Heck in a Sec? Is that the thing they're doing? Hated a crate? It's something like that they're doing. They're build. That's what I read this week. That Roman versus Ray is going to be a little sort of feud to keep Roman ticking over until he gets ba at SummerSlam. And I think Ronald and Ray might have a lovely little time if they have a match together on the pay-per-view. I think they can make some magic.
I like it. I also like the idea of Roman being the reason why they didn't win the titles. So it's like the Hannibal Burgess meme. Like, bang, 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 bang. Why didn't you win the tag titles, Usos? Anyway. Friday Night Dynamite, which hopefully won't be on Friday for very long. It's been awkward getting SmackDown and AEW done the same day. The show begins with the Young Bucks versus Pac and Penta, because Phoenix, our number 1 rated superhero dude, is apparently injured with a groin strain.
He's injured with a groin.
He has a
the way
groin.
I started that sentence with, this is now how you say this, Maffew.
You also said Phoenix, which isn't that not
that's a deliberate
isn't that a
thing,
shop
yes.
in Newcastle?
Yes, there we go. One for the local lads.
Like it.
Just to annoy people who go, no, it's Phoenix, Maffew. Aye, Phoenix.
Microwave.
You should see him at Christmas time, man. Fantastic.
Oh, the Fennec window is a gorgeous northeast tradition. I'll spin off because I know we're here to talk exclusively about wrestling, but a fun story about
Tom, we hate it when we digress.
fun story about the Christmas Fennec window. So Newcastle, the Fennec Christmas window is like a big deal, isn't it, Ross? So like,
Oh yeah, it's a
do you
national,
remember
a
going
national
as a-
holiday when it opens up that first day. Thousands flock to watch this window. For some reason, thousands flock to see the curtains get put back on this window, which is there for a whole month at least.
and it's always like a diorama of like a kid's story, isn't it? Like Peter Rabbit or
Charlie the
Fantastic
Chocolate Factory. Yeah.
Shine the Chocolate Factory. And so you've got to walk along the Fennec window and you follow the diorama. The one year I was down there to help cover it for radio, and I noticed as I was walking up to it, I noticed they've changed the signage at the Greggs over the road. And what they had done, and this is, they printed a brand new sign for the Greggs across the road from Fennec that was mirrored. So when people took photos of the Fennec window, you had the Greggs logo the right way round. So on all these pictures of the Fennec window in newspapers, online, had the Greggs logo everywhere.
The cerebral pasty. It's
smartest
so clever
pasty.
that though, isn't it?
So good. I just loved that. I adored that. That was a brilliant move from Greggs. Excellent work. Wrestling.
Wrestling, yes. Oh no, back to reality. Kazarian attacks Michael McIntyre. Michael McIntyre, yes.
Wrestling.
That's noise he made when he got
That's
hit.
why it's funny.
I'll walk across the stage quite quickly. That's hilarious.
The Northeast people, they speak very interesting. And is chased away by the Good Brothers. The Bucks win the match. Yeah, Michael McIntyre, what a cameo. The Bucks win the match and look to beat down Penta afterwards, but Eddie Kingston makes the save. It was a good match,
It was.
but Pac didn't win, so it was a bad match.
And after Double or Nothing, a lot of people told me that on Being the Elite, because I don't watch Being the Elite, I'll be completely honest, everybody, Rick Knox was paid off by the Young Bucks, but this was not explained during this match. And why is this a thing? Because obviously the ref couldn't see the shoulders or whatever. I've not made very good notes here. I've put Jim Ross asking what's going on as the ref couldn't see the shoulders, whatever that's in reference to. That should have been explained by, letting us know that on Being the Elite, the Young Bucks have paid off a crooked referee called Rick Knox. Why is there this disconnect when, stuff like this is happening? Shouldn't be happening, should it?
No.
So I remember you talking about Ross on one of the many, many wonderful video series we do here in Cultaholic, where you're talking about it. And I remember going, wait. No, Ross, silly person who looks at wrestling and tries to pay attention to what information they give you. They did this at the very start of AEW when they explained, no, it's relaxed rules. It's a referee's discretion. Because every indie wrestling tag team now, if they had to stick to proper wrestling rules that you see on normal wrestling shows, couldn't do half the moves that they're allowed to do. Because referee be like, no, that's 5 seconds. Young Bucks are DQ'd after 2 minutes. So AEW has said for a while now the referee's discretion, blah, 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 blah. But they haven't really brought it up recently. So when Rick Knox was doing this stuff on AEW on the pay-per-view, I wasn't even thinking, I didn't even notice it until AEW brought it up and said, oh yeah, really bad referee in there. I'm like, okay, you've lost me now, lads. You've already got this explanation that you've been using for years, and now you've forgotten it, and now one of the guys is getting bribed. Is it kayfabe? Is it not? Is it in canon, I should say? Yeah, I'm with you, Ross.
Yeah, it just makes Rick Knox look like a terrible referee when you don't explain it, which is unfair on him if it's a storyline on one thing, but not on t'other. They need to be in synergy.
Yeah. Never the twain shall meet. Only in AEW. And also the fact, I didn't even care about Rick Knox, whatever, he's just a ref. Pac, a week ago, was challenging for the world title. And here, he loses clean to the Young Bucks. Just saying. Just saying. Because obviously, anytime Pac doesn't win a match or a title, it's bad booking. I think we're all agreed there. So, not looking good. No pois so far, hey, Dub. Just saying. Tony Schiavone introduces Mark Henry, but then I love this bit. But then done by Vicky Guerrero, and she gets so much heat. She probably gets the most heat on anything on this show. Apparently, this was at the end of a very long set of tapings, and the crowd were very spent. So Vicky Guerrero comes out and just gets all that heat. She keeps on getting for years. She get heat in the North Pole that no one hears the first time when introduces the new signing to AEW. Boo! So, like, Excalibur's like, what did you hear? Andrade Idolo is coming out. No one pops until he shows up. God goes, oh look, it's Andrade.
I didn't like this debut. I thought it felt like sort of like, oh, he's here today, is he? He's actually going to be here today? Oh, we'll just put him on the show then. It didn't feel like it was thought out that well.
Yeah.
It harked back to days of the Butcher and the Blades debut, which I don't like. Nobody had a clue what was going on. But I would have preferred... Is that the Butcher? Why? Who are these men and what are their intentions? Jim Ross famously said.
Yeah. And she's looking at Excalibur going, well, you're the indie lover. Come on. You love it. Go on. Who are they? Excalibur says nothing. So you're like, well, I don't know who the hell they are. That was so good.
I guess, but it's a weird thing to try and look at because I would have preferred, like I said, I would have preferred. I'm proving Triple H right here.
Just watch the program.
I know. I'm not going to watch AEW this week. To be fair, after this debut, I didn't like it that much. But no, I would have preferred like an angle, like a proper bona fide, like, oh, I'm here to play. I'm Andrade. Proper thing happening. But then again, on the other hand, smoking tack. On the other hand, it's sort of the open-endedness of it all. It's like the questions: is he with Vicky? Is Vicky now in a stable with Nyla and Andrade? There's a lot of questions, I guess. So I can see how it works in both ways.
I think on paper, putting Andrade with Vicky is great. Is a great call.
Yeah,
a heat magnet and Andrade, like that works. But I think, like Maffew said there, when you watch it, like Vicky there is so much hate for her that it drowns out the reason that she's there, which is a shame. But then, it's just otherwise, it's just a sort of, it feels like a kind of standard AEW debut, doesn't it? Just like, here's a wrestler walking out wearing a suit going, oh, it's him! Do you remember him? I think one of the most impactful AEW debuts, and I'm sure there'll be others that I've forgotten, but it was Moxley's, when Moxley turned up. JR going, hey, John Moxley, that was great. And I felt like since then everybody has just sort of walked out onto the stage, look nice in a suit, and they've gone, oh, wink, wink, WWE. And then they've signed a piece of paper or said, I'm going to be the best here. And okay, you can't all be the best here. Maybe just, I want someone to come out, make a debut and go, I'm going to sort of sit nicely in the mid-card here. I might challenge the TNT title on an episode of Dark, but I'm just going to sort of float in the middle of the water here. I think that's fine with me. That would stand out.
All right, Christian.
Wrestler, I tell you what, wrestlers saying I will be the face of insert promotion or this is the insert wrestler's name era needs to go away from wrestling for a while because too many people say it. Too many people says it.
It used to be like the death sentence for someone who goes, the Austin 316 era or the Hogan era. We're not allowed. You're looking at the Ken Kennedy era. Whatever, whoever would say it is like, oh, no, mate.
You're looking at the Stevie Eggs era.
The Bull Buchanan has just begun. Doesn't even say era, it just says his name. That's right, don't call it era. The Bull Buchanan.
Fire the Bull Buchanan.
Then, now, Bull. Yeah. Also, of the highlight of this, of the no one hearing because of Vicky's heat, was the fact that Jim Ross was like, wow, it's great to see Andrew, that bald dude who keeps on throwing pasties at the Cultaholic windows.
Boo.
Scum, subhuman scum.
Still suspended from the company.
Yeah, sorry, we'll move on. We'll obviously cut that out because we want to talk or give him any press whatsoever, him or his Twitch streams.
JR getting Andre, calling Andrade Andre. Just... I'm just gonna load file JR should probably go now.org.mp3. Just put that there because I feel like every couple of weeks JR does something I just go, oh mate, just that's enough now.
Look at the JR camera, he's drinking barbecue sauce. It's like,
we think it's barbecue sauce.
So yeah, I agree with you. It would be nice to have someone come out like Mark Henry and Big Show coming out with suits and going, "Yes, I'm going to be commentating." Great, that's nice. But for wrestlers who should be doing stuff and beating up people, taking names, it's a bit weird. But then you realise why they didn't have Andrade do that. It's because there's currently no seats on the feud bus because they're all filled with everything that happened at Double or Nothing. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson take on QT Marshall and Anthony Ogogo. Aaron Solo runs out to distract Cody, allowing Ogogo to knock him out. QT falls on top for the win. QT brags on the mic afterwards. The feud must continue. The Inner Circle are here, and Jericho praises Sammy for winning the match at Double or Nothing. Hager challenges Wardlow to an MMA cage fight in 2 weeks' time. Jericho doesn't feel like he's even with MJF after he pushed him off the cage. He says he's going to beat him and prove that he's still the GOAT. The feud must continue. And so on and so forth.
At least Cody sold a punch from Ogogo this time, like he's supposed to. Because Ogogo's big weapon in AEW is his right hand, because he's a medalist in the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games and really serious stuff like that. But Cody, after everyone else was dying in the build up to Double or Nothing, Cody just didn't really sell it too much at Double or Nothing. But at least he's doing it now, and I would like to see QT Marshall banned from speaking on AEW shows. Because I get nothing from it, me. I shocked the world, this, that, and the other. I get nothing from it. He's obviously, he works hard backstage and whatever the story is, and he puts the shows together, and obviously has his hand in the Nightmare Factory and stuff, and all credit to him for that. But he adds nothing to AEW on screen, I think. I can't wait for Ogogo and the other students to turn on him, because I think he's holding them back.
But the QT Marshall era has only just begun. You'll remember my name. Hackenschmidt, Gotch, Thez, QT Marshall.
Yeah.
Farmer John. Sorry, that's a throwback. But yeah, QT, when he had that run where it's like, oh, it's going to be serious then. They're doing the Zbyszko Bruno thing. Great. But now he's a comedy dude. I'm like,
is he?
All right. Is he supposed to be? I don't know. Is he just rubbish? Yeah, he's not a heel. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm a rubbish guy. QT.
I'm trying really hard, honest, but it's not quite working. I'm that guy.
I thought this was good when I wrote it down backstage. Sorry. QT Marshall.
Do you guys feel the same though? Because I feel strongly on QT Marshall and AEW.
He's one of those guys that's mates with the guys that run the company, who they're going, hey, let's give you a bit of storyline. Let's chuck you in the mix. Let's, it's jobs for the boys, isn't it? Jobs for the boys.
Exactly.
It's fine.
The real life Alan Partridge. Give me a second feud, Cody. Come on. Number one contender, Jungle Boy. Oh, here we go. Some good teams with Christian Cage to beat Private Party. After the match, Matt Hardy hits Christian with a twist of fate on the ramp, and Jungle Boy chases him off. That's right. The Hardys versus Edge and Christian. The feud must continue.
Thought Mark Quinn was going to die in the setup to the finish with the sort of Styles Clash-esque maneuver off the middle rope. Do you remember that one? Terrifying scenes.
I didn't see that. I was in that particular
I didn't even notice it.
Oh, goodness me. Oh. Oh, go,
Now we're in an episode of Zap.
He escaped, though, and all credit to him. But yeah, Christian's very selfless, isn't he? I like Christian.
I like him when he's helping others, which he's doing right now. It's fine. Yeah. Perfect position for him, helping others. Jungle Boy getting the rub. I'm sure we can all agree with that. It's a good thing. Oh, back to Zap. Shivani brings out Darby Allin and Sting. Sting talks about how Double or Nothing was one of the greatest nights of his career, but he's interrupted by Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page on the Tron. They accuse Sting of carrying Darby and challenge Darby to beat them with a tag partner that isn't Sting. Because why, Tom?
The feud must continue.
That's right. Perfectly delivered. QT
There's a lot of feuds. They're all continuing, aren't they? Was the pay-per-view just for Double or Nothing? I mean, so the pay-per-view's called Double or Nothing. So I assume we landed on double because we're just getting everything again.
Yes, they'll do a pay-per-view in a few weeks' time. It'll be exactly the same card.
I thought they were marketing that as their WrestleMania, weren't they? I've seen a few people say that's their WrestleMania, Double or Nothing. So it's weird to see everything continue.
I would always say
WrestleMania Backlash, Double or Nothing Backlash, Double or Nothing Second Spin.
Triple or nothing.
I'd say like All Out, maybe their wrestle, or at least should be All In or All In / All Out should be there.
Shake it all about.
Shake it all about. Do the okie turn yourself around. I remember an interview years ago where Ric Flair said that Lockdown, he was working for TNA, he said Lockdown was like the grandest stage of them all. He said it's the show of all shows, Lockdown for TNA, simply because it was in April. Ric Flair in autopilot going, yeah, Lockdown, the grandest stage of them all. This is where the legends are made. Like, no, it's a pay-per-view in April. Don't get it twisted with the other one.
Yeah, the legend of the dodgy pay-per-view. Oh, sorry, I only meant to think that. Sorry, Ryan Satan. Don't write that down. Various heels are in the ring for Britt Baker's championship celebration. I don't know why they're there. Oh, sorry, Britt Baker's supposed to be a heel. Ignore the crowd cheering her. She's brought burgers for everyone, except they're all in the ring because they did all the work. What?
She got burger coupons after her win, so she got burgers for stuff. She
goes to share a burger toast. I must have missed some of this. What? With Rebel and Shivani, but Nyla Rose slaps him out of the hands and throws the rest out to the crowd. So Britt Baker was giving out burger vouchers.
She got like 1,500 or something after her big victory.
And she gave them the people.
But this was the night of freebies because the Inner Circle during their segment gave everybody a free Stadium Stampede 2 t-shirt because obviously they couldn't sell them because who wants a Stadium Stampede 2 t-shirt? So yeah, Britt Baker was doing similar stuff with that, but she did a fakie, I think she did a fakie where she's like, oh, look under your chairs. There's burger coupons, everybody. And everyone looked because who doesn't want a free burger, but there wasn't any. She kept them all for herself.
Oh, right. Because I
think that was right.
Oh, right.
And so then Bobby Lashley comes in and says to Simon Dean, you can't eat all these cheeseburgers.
There's no Simon system. I'm fit and healthy, and these burgers are bad. And all these PTs around the country going, what are you talking about? They'll count. All calories.
But it is reassuring to hear a medical professional say that eating 1,500 burgers does no damage to your teeth. So, every cloud.
That's right. The one thing it won't damage is your teeth. And we're British, so what do we got to lose? And Red Velvet beats the Bunny. Even after the blade slips a set of brass knucks. Red Velvet had a very bad landing here, but got up as if nothing happened and then tweeted, "No, I'm fine." So well done, Red Velvet. I knew you were top tier cake. And we did that months ago.
Red Velvet is the best cake. I won't have anyone say any otherwise.
See, the reason why I bring this up is because my friend insists that the only difference between red velvet and normal cake is food colouring. I went, no.
There is a story behind red velvet cake, and I don't think your friend is too far off the truth. Because there is like the whole idea that red velvet cake was made to be seen as a higher class cake. It was originated in the early 20th century in Maryland. Served as a fancy dessert in contrast to what had been more common, coarser, crumbed cake. But I don't think there's a massive amount of difference in the ingredients. I think it's just high society deemed that being called red velvet cake made it posher.
So you're tasting Tory, is that what you're tasting?
Oh.
Num num. Delicious Tories. Eat the rich.
I should go next door and lick at them and see what the difference is.
I've been told not to until after July.
8 out of 10 Freemasons prefer red velvet cake. Stupidest bit. In the main event, no, really. Dustin Rhodes faces Nick Comoroto in a bull rope match. Aaron Solo tries to interfere, but is taken out by Colton Gunn, main eventer. Dustin wins, hooray. This was an episode of AEW Dynamite that happened.
Wasn't the strongest thing they've ever. What a weird choice to put put Dustin in the main event there in that bull rope match against your man Nick there. It was just a strange choice. It felt like the old days of Raw where they'd put like the main event on first and an opening match on last.
Yeah, because I think they think internally people are a lot more invested in the Nightmare Factory versus the Factory than people actually are. I'm guessing that's why this match happened. Like, I don't know where this story sort of came from that Nick and Dustin needed to have a bull rope match. Where's that come from?
Oh, it was from Double or Nothing, because didn't Nick eliminate him using a bull rope or attacking with a bull rope during the match, during that Casino Battle Royale with Cheese?
Yeah, because Dustin brought one to the ring.
Yeah.
Like a cheat. Because they're all heels. They're all foreign heels in that group.
Not really that severe to make a main event bull rope match, though, is it? But it was a fine match. You know, the good power bomb from Nick and table things, and yeah, it happened.
You know why I think they think it's hot? Because the amount of interactions a Go-Go had on Twitter. Build up to it. Oh, wow, this is really hot on Twitter. It's like, no, we love a Go-Go dunking on you guys.
We're not into the Nightmare Factory stuff. We just like a Go-Go.
Yeah. I mean, I like Nick Comoroto, but main event, not yet, mate.
No, nowhere near. It almost felt like the show was booked upside down. Like, I feel like if you turn it round, they go, that kind of makes more sense. We do it that way. Is it because it's on Friday?
I was going to say, I think they've actually booked this perfectly for the Friday slot, but for people who just wake up and watch it whenever it's more convenient for themselves, hey, how you doing? It's like a bit of an odd episode. But the ratings did show that, it was around half the people. Sorry, not half the people, but half the ratings that they would do on a Wednesday. But they have to do this because of the NBA season. Yeah. I think I'm right in saying that. So
ratings have been bad for them last couple of weeks on a Friday. They've not. It's not been good. And we'll mention that. I think some people think we don't mention that, but we mention when Raw ratings are down. But there's a million different reasons why each one are down. AEW ratings are down. Whenever a TV show moves, you can shout about it. You can shout from the rooftops where it is. But not everybody's drinking that in. We still get comments saying, "When's graded out?" People aren't like always going to spot everything all the time. So you're going to lose people. And obviously with other stuff going on a Friday, you lose that core audience. And I hope for them they'll bounce back. But I think a show like this kind of deserves the number that it got, to be honest.
I actually like it when you say like people can't get used to change, expect stuff to happen. And one way you're dealing with that problem, the Cultaholic way, is to hire people that used to work here. So Fraser Porter is back with Cultaholic after a few years off. And can we just pretend that he's always been here?
Fraser never worked here. Fraser was here. I said, keep it on Fraser. Fraser was here on work experience for 2 weeks.
Was it only 2 weeks?
Yeah, he's moderated for channel for the YouTube channel, for the Twitch and stuff. He's done different social media work, but officially Fraser was here for 2 weeks, and we did that picture where we made him clean a toilet.
That's his legacy to me. He could be running Progress Wrestling in a few years' time. I'm like, it's Fraser the toilet dude.
Well, he competed at North Wrestling, Maffew. Do you remember?
Fraser?
Yeah, do you remember?
No.
We did commentary for a North Wrestling show. We do commentary for North Wrestling in the UK, Maffew and I.
Yes.
And there was a Fraser Thomas match. And I didn't spot it at first. For the first 10 minutes of the match, you were calling him Fraser Porter. And I had to go, mate, it's Fraser Thomas. I was like, what? Fraser Porter, who's the work experience guy from Cultaholic. Fraser Thomas is the wrestler.
Shout out to Fraser Porter, because what a hard-working man he is. What a fantastic,
he's a grafter.
What an asset he is to behind the scenes here. Not an ass hat, an asset.
Oh, nice! I like that wordplay.
We've got a lovely team at the moment, haven't we? Not that we never did, but since I joined, I feel like we've gone from like this to this, and we've expanded. And gosh, we've got some cool people now at the moment.
Jim, we cannot see them.
Yeah, I'm excited for like tail end of this year, all being well.
I tell you,
we can all sit in an office and ignore each other.
Over the past year, there's names appeared on our like internal messaging service here at work that I've got no idea who they are. I'm like, what? Who the hell's this just rocked up here?
I reckon, like when the office properly opens up, I think if you were a chancer, you could just turn up at the office and sit at a desk, and you go, I guess that's the new guy. We wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's like I imagine how a lot of indie wrestlers are writing down, I was part of this group on AEW Dynamite one time. And people going, really? I remember. Oh, you know what? There's so many hangers-on and giant groups in AEW. Yeah, you probably were, mate. Yeah, I believe you.
One thing I forgot to say, by the way. Do you reckon Tommy End might debut in that Sting and Darby Allin tag team thing? I've written that down here. I've done exactly what Triple H does not like fans to do. I've done some fantasy booking. I've got a bit excited, but find any tag team partner you want. Always in AEW. Suggest to me a debut could happen. And I don't know what the timeline is for Tommy End's sort of contract status in the 90 days and whatever he has to go through. But could they hold off? Because if there's some spooky, gothic men, it's Sting and Darby Allin, isn't it?
That's a good shout, actually. I've got a better idea, though. How about Tommy End walks out onto stage in a suit, surprised. Jim Ross calls him Tommy Start. He steps into the ring, signs a contract, and leaves. I think that's a nice creative way for AEW to debut somebody.
I'll make it better, Tom. I'll make it better. He picks up the microphone and he says, "This is the Timmy Start era."
And then JR goes, "Well, that's Timmy Start. In any event, coming up next is Ruffles paper." AEW debuts.
Yeah.
We're the shills, aren't we? We're the shills.
Yeah, thanks
Yes.
for the check, TK.
Yes, that's right. Yes, thanks to the $5. We know you don't listen anymore. Say what we like, get paid.
I'm excited for the comments telling us that we're both AEW biased and anti-AEW today.
That's right, yes. We're very complicated. Monday Night Raw. Here we go. AJ Styles and Omos are on the mic ahead of the Tag Team Battle Royal. They say they'll defend their titles once WWE is on the road again, and say that they can beat any team in the division. A few people chime in, and it says here, including Riddle, trying to be funny. Hooray. But they're interrupted by Miz and Morrison. Morrison's entering alone because Miz is injured, and he almost lets Miz's wheelchair roll down the amp by accident, just as the slow-mo by Jomo is kicking in.
The best thing that's happened on Raw since Xavier Woods versus Matt Riddle. Oh, sorry, just Riddle.
Yes. I thought it was very good. Orton looks very strong in the Battle Royal, but he's last eliminated by the Viking Raiders, who become the #1 contenders. I like the start of this with AJ and almost running down every tag team to almost remind people who is in the Raw tag team division. Because it was only a few months ago where there was AJ Styles and Omos, New Day,
Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander just about hanging in there.
Kind of. So now we've actually got proper tag teams again, and it's nice that they add a bit of insult there. And including New Day going, wait, have you even filled out your form to be a proper tag team?
It's a very British approach to a feud, isn't it? You haven't filled out the forms.
Yeah. Have you got a license for that tag title? That's how Americans think we talk.
I'm wearing 2 T-shirts anyway. 1, because Randy doesn't wear shirts, and 2, because he doesn't wear pants.
It's so sad seeing people online. And again, look, we all have different opinions and different likes and stuff like that, but people going, wow, Riddle has been one of the highlights of Raw on the mic. I'm like, oh, right. I've standard slipped so much now that we're trying to appreciate. Oh, okay. No. You can like what you like, mate, but you got to be kidding.
You see, Maffew, it's funny because he's stoned.
I wish I was stoned watching this.
His character does make me a bit embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. Because imagine like sitting in a room with muggles who... Is that right, from Harry Potter?
That's good.
Muggles who don't watch the wrestling. Just imagine if Riddle came on, cut one of those promos speaking about his snake or whatever he's on about, and then the 2 T-shirts and stuff. You'd be dying in your chair, wouldn't you? This is my livelihood, this lad's watching this kind of stuff. Terrible.
I'm not saying he's good at the promos, but one of the highlights is when Randy Orton says, be quiet, and he's quiet. Yay! Crowd's like, yeah! It's because the Austin 99 pop.
That's the thing I need to keep reminding myself when I'm watching Raw, is that, you know, I've said it a few times on the channel, like, the best wrestling shows are when they are variety shows and there's something for everybody watching. So somewhere, there is somebody enjoying the likes of Riddle and the likes of the main event that we'll get to speak about a bit later on. And if they are, good for them. I don't at all, though.
Yeah. Elias is here to play us a song about how he had to split from Jackson Riker for his own sanity. And it's not said, but it is heard, and health and friendship with the rest of the locker room. People don't know what to talk about. Jackson Riker tweeted that, I love talking about Elias. We have the same philosophies and views. And then a week later, Elias, whoa, please, for the love of God, it's blows up on TV. Riker attacks from behind, and they have a match which Riker wins after Elias runs away. Riker is now
a real American. Fight for the rights of every... Did you hear the Thunderdome going radio rental? The bell has rung just a second.
That's the Thunderdome. It was...
We need more Riker. That's what they're ringing. I'm just like, that's not how it works.
I am impressed with the... I'm impressed with the gall of WWE to go... Let's make Riker a babyface. I'm sure the crowd will cheer when we're back on the road. I'm kind of in awe of that level of audacity. I really am.
I like that. WWE often does this now and again. Okay, 2 bad guys are teaming up. one bad guy turns on the other bad guy. Oh, we should cheer that bad guy that got turned on by the other bad guy. I'm like, no, but lads, listen. What? He's had a haircut. Right good.
To be fair, I think his haircut looks a lot better than it did when it was long. But I still will not be getting invested in Jackson Riker. I cannot see it happening.
They want the crowd to cheer him because they might think he's somebody else who's had a haircut.
What's Blackson Bliker doing here? We've never seen him before in the Impact Zone, Maggle.
You know what I can't wait for next week? Where Blackson Bliker picks up the microphone and says, "This is the Blackson Bliker era on Monday Night Raw."
He does seem like the kind of guy that is going to do that promo. He really does. And they're going to go, well, this is it now.
I've been in the shadows for so long, but now I have come from underneath the evil reign of that Elias fellow, and now it is time for the Jackson Riker era on Monday Night Raw. Ban it from the wrestling.
This is the genesis of the beginning of part 1. Oh, wait, enough of this. The only way he could get cheered by the crowd now is he changed his first name to Commander. Drew McIntyre is waiting in the ring for a contract signing with Bobby Lashley, but Lashley doesn't show up. So, Drew cuts a promo comparing himself to Robert the Bruce in Scarlet Freedom. I'm surprised he's taken up this. I swear I did a joke about this weeks ago. About, they should bring up this. And they got no pop whatsoever because it was awful. And then got brought up that they're going to bring up Robert the Bruce. MVP and Lashley come out and demand that this is Drew's last title shot while Lashley is champ. Drew agrees in exchange for a Hell in a Cell stipulation. He chops the signing table in half with his sword. It says here, wowzers. Again, I continue to be fascinated by the study case that is Drew McIntyre, a.k.a. what Americans know of Scotland in one character. Kilt, Robert the Bruce, right? Sword. He trains in the mountains where he lives.
When did Drew start being so cringy to watch? When did he stop being like the lad who looked like he was just having, just a normal sort of everyday lad, but he's, 6'6" and built like a Greek god. But he's still a normal lad at heart. He's just having a great time doing the wrestling with his pal Sheamus and stuff like that. Yeah. When did he become such a cringe bag?
I'm not sure. I think it's a slow metamorphosis over time. You've kind of heard like he's gone from these. You've heard him dropping more of those WWE scripted isms into his spiel, and I think now he's approaching full caricature of Drew McIntyre, Scotland,
especially up against Bobby Lashley and MVP and that entire look, because that's just like they've got the fancy suits on whatnot, and we've got what Drew called the Lashley train. Pimping ain't easy, man. Pimping ain't easy. Grab your bitches.
So the hang of the air. Thank you.
We'll come back to it in 2 weeks' time, like Aleister Black's promos.
Hey.
But yeah, especially up against Lashley and that entire sort of, I know it's still the Hurt Business or whatever that MVP likes to say. Up against that, it just makes Drew look like a massive nerd, a huge nerd, a huge
Scottish nerd.
They could play off it better, but I don't think they know how to. The whole it's an easy idea of like this high rolling champ versus this sort of just like a normal guy like who's just sort of fought his way to where he is. They've kind of missed all that, and they're just like you say. His scripts are very much loaded with WWE isms, and I think that's where they've gone very, very wrong, and where they've made him quite cringy. Yeah.
So, Tom, what do you think the next thing that Drew McIntyre will do is like an outsider's perspective of what Scotland is? Do you think he'll go, right, Lashley, I'm going to toss you like a caber at Hell in the Cell?
I think that'd be great. I think do that. Be played to the ring by Michelle McManus. I think that's something beautifully Scottish they could do. I think we could double down on it even more. I think I think maybe come out with Merida from Brave, a CGI Merida from Brave who shoots a bow and arrow. It's just my ball.
Drew McIntyre for Pet Dragon. That would be a good.
Oh yeah, that's nice. I like that as well.
We need Drew McIntyre to have a stable, and then somewhere down the line, the stable turns on Drew. So then we can have the infamous line of Drew McIntyre just on his knees screaming, "They've turned the weens against us."
I kind of think we're going to have to reach a point where I think if we all get to a point where we're watching that closing scene on Monday Night Raw, and it's Drew's music playing, the commentator's yucking up as Bobby Lashley pulls haggis off his face, having been covered in haggis from the stage. That's when I think we need to give this job a break. I think that's when we need to kind of vote with our feet and maybe, I don't know, go tobogganing or something. I feel like they're not averse to doing a haggis drop onto Bobby Lashley.
And he goes, oh no, if only I had something to wash this off my face. This square sausage in his haggis, that's all over my face. And out comes Drew with the Iron Brew truck.
I mean, that saved it.
Bottle of Bucky in a hat.
And Lashley's there going, no, and it's the sugar-free version as well.
I'm going to make a fast buck off this buck fast.
Yes.
To be fair,
Drew goes backstage and Vince goes, I don't know. It's just not Scottish enough.
I would be down for a Drew McIntyre championship celebration with just Buckfast everywhere. A little bit of the Bucky.
So Drew McIntyre, we still don't know where he's from, but he has told us that he's so Scottish that he's going to have all the flags in his pub window for the Euros, apart from one. Sheamus cuts a promo about his broken nose and how Ricochet and Carrillo are lucky he isn't allowed to compete tonight. He calls them a word that you're not allowed to say on this
poo.
Yes! So great. And I know lots of Americans going, oh, that's a curse word? I'm like, well, over here it is. I guess over there it isn't. And then I got told, like, a lot of the people who are speaking their non-native English languages on TV are usually cursing. Like, Penta curses every episode of AEW Dynamite. Tajiri was cursing every time he was on ECW. And Ludwig Borger on the 2 times I'd talk on the microphone, which just insult everybody in cursing. So,
well,
I think that's
fascinating. Which English curse words do you reckon WWE would completely ignore? I think
I'll just like slang from over here.
I think bullocks, but not bullocks, would fly. I'm cautious. I don't want to upset the algorithm.
Yeah, I think we could say
this is a dangerous topic of discussion.
Yeah,
it is indeed, isn't it?
You're playing with fire. You're playing with fire, Bobby Lashley. So to celebrate Burns Night, I'm going to challenge you to an Inferno match this Sunday.
But they call it a Burns Night match.
The Burns Night match.
Did you get it, pal? Because Burns.
MVP
helps him win by throwing a big book of poetry at Drew.
Why did he pick Hell in a Cell, by the way? If he wants anyone not to get involved, why did he pick Hell in a Cell? Has he not seen one before?
It is funny, though, because at WrestleMania, MVP did kind of interfere, distract. Wasn't a huge interference, to be honest with you. But then the triple threat happened, and it was a clean victory. So now Drew is angry. And it's like, why? You're just salty.
Yeah.
You're not justified. You're just salty.
Surely that stipulation's made it an easy win for Bobby, so we can move on to something new.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, who is the new? Who's in line to be a challenger for the world title, Bobby Lashley's world title?
It may not be Kofi Kingston backstage with MVP talking business. Kofi says he's busy. Do not talk to MVP. MVP says he was a huge fan of Kofi when he won at WrestleMania, but last week he lost to Drew and shook his hand. He's now nothing more than a loser again. And Kofi does they do the EastEnders thing where MVP walks off, the camera goes to Kofi, and Kofi's going, I'm thinking. So I hope he is thinking. I hope we do get some of that, because that'd be great.
I was a big fan of this, adding a bit of layer to the old story. Something that didn't happen in WWE, but did actually happen because that video went viral, didn't it? Just after WrestleMania 35. It was shouting MVP, wasn't it? Sort of stood next to each other, getting emotional at Kofi winning the big title. So I liked how they threw that real thing in there. It was a nice change from the norm, so to speak.
Nice.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, the 2 flippy useless lads have a number 1 contenders match for the US title, and it goes to double count out because Ricochet does a Spanish fly off the apron to the floor, and Sheamus goes, ha ha ha. And he's crying, laughing. Guy in this view. You guys suck. Why would you do that move to the outside? You're stupid. There's no number 1 contender. I'm going. Bye.
To be fair, that just must tell me they've got nobody in line for a US title shot either. Oh, no, Sheamus can't wrestle, can he, for a while, surely, because of his face?
The more you think on it, they've got really, apart from the tag belts, there's really nobody in line for anything, is there?
Yeah, you're right.
You've got this you've got so many belts, but nobody in a position to offer anything palatable for them. The US title, on paper, Sheamus doing this open challenge is a great idea. John Cena did it, and we saw guys like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and Neville coming through. Real fun surprises every week. And they've kind of gone, hey, an open challenge to surprise people every week. It's Umberto, and then Umberto, and then Ricochet, then Umberto. It's a great concept, and it could be an opportunity to bring some new faces in, but they've just gone, oh, this is a device to apparently get over Umberto in a way that isn't really working.
Tom, do you think they had this idea of the open challenge, and then they went, oh, we fired everybody?
Yeah!
So it's just
all your wrestlers!
Auto-filled Humberto, Ricochet, Humberto, Ricochet.
I think the Raw writing team is that gif of Gromit on the train putting the track together. That's Raw writing team at the moment. Like, oh, the open challenge, we haven't got anybody. Oh, just Umberto this week. We'll figure it out next week. And then you get to Monday night and you go, oh, we forgot. Oh, let's do Umberto again.
Yeah, the dude's like, just written everything up to SummerSlam. It's a few months sorted out. Wait, what's this breaking news? Half the roster's been fired for...
Let's look at the Raw roster, right? We've got Akira Tozawa's there. Angel Garza could be, if he was just, used on
He's busy
TV.
Kicking flowers at people's bum, apparently.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Cedric Alexander could be. Damian Priest, I don't know where he's at. He could be as well. Drew Gulak, if used properly, he could be. We've got Humberto, he's in there. Jeff Hardy.
Who?
Yeah. Mace. Mansoor. Reggie is apparently on Raw.
Oh,
Shanky is on Raw. T-Bar, Via, Xavier Woods. There isn't really that many options, is there? But there are a few which they're just not using for whatever reason.
I mean, I like the idea. Now, you mentioned it there, Ross, and it completely slipped my mind that he was even there. Jeff Hardy. He's been a bit down the card as of late, but it's a former champion. Like I think Drew's going to peel off to go and fight Jinder.
Oh,
that's a thing I think that might happen. And then it leaves Bobby free for somebody. Jeff Hardy, a former champion, squaring up. That's all right. Jeff Hardy has said many times that when the crowds are back, he wants his no more time is coming, going forward, music on. Do that and have a title match at the same time. There's a lovely aesthetic there. Why not? I think the crowd will get behind Jeff Hardy if he was challenging Bobby Lashley for the title. But you've got to now. Don't just go, oh, here's an announcement match. Here's a crazy idea, WWE. Let's tell a story to get Jeff Hardy there. Let's tell a story, a compelling story over the next 7 weeks and how Jeff Hardy challenges Lashley. Go on, I dare you cowards.
But then, Tom, if they start telling stories, fans might get excited and start, trying to predict where the story goes.
Yeah.
I was about to say, everything you're saying is just making Triple H grumpier.
Yeah.
Just stop watching it.
Right now, he's just going to the microphone. I don't believe it. They're wanting stories.
Imagine Triple H as Victor Meldrew. I don't believe it.
It's also what the writers say when they're just written 6 months worth of storylines. And it's like, all right, back we go. Cedric Alexander says he's going to take his legacy to new heights by beating Jeff Hardy.
The Cedric Alexander era has begun.
That's right. He then loses to Jeff Hardy.
We've come full circle, though, lads, because Jeff Hardy was speaking about respect, and it's happening on Raw, and Jeff Hardy made Cedric Alexander famous by beating him, like Undertaker beat him 20-odd years ago.
Well, that's right. The spirit of the Undertaker lives through Jeff Hardy, and that thing that they never really addressed or went with because it was a story. Sonya Deville forces Charlotte Flair, she'll get her interest revving, and Rhea Ripley to team up against
how
Nikki.
will they coexist? To be fair to Charlotte and Rhea, though, in terms of how will they coexist, they've done in the how will they coexist era, if that's now an era, because it seems to happen every single week these days, they've done it the best, I thought, here. I thought they were, in terms of how will they coexist, the way they would pat each other on the head and slap each other, and I loved it when Charlotte just Rhea was trying to get back in the ring and Charlotte just pulled her off the apron and went, get back in the ring now, will you? I like that sort of stuff. So they did it well, but it's still rubbish. Stop it. We've seen
Rhea
enough.
Ripley smacking Charlotte on the top of the head.
Yeah, love that.
That was fun.
Love that
Fun
poo-housery.
Charlotte and Rhea can't get along and end up brawling. Charlotte hits natural selection and Nikki pins Rhea for the win.
Nikki Cross is the #1 heel on Monday Night Raw. Because the narrative on this week's Raw, which I could not believe it, we had Sarah Schreiber, I think it was, saying to Nikki Cross that she's been on one hell of a run of wins, even though the wins are lasting 2 minutes in a beat the clock challenge, which she then celebrated like a heel would. And now in this match here, she stole a pinfall after whoever attacked whoever. Nikki Cross is a heel, even though she's a babyface, but she's a heel.
I tell you what, I'm
Momentum
loving
of a
Raw.
runaway freight train.
I'm loving Raw right now, just so we can talk. This happened, I just laugh. Backstage, Mustafa Ali tells Mansoor that he isn't ready for his match because he still tries to fight fair and square. Mansoor does win his match, though. Reversing through Gulak Strollo. They want him his zone. Mansoor's like, whoa. I don't want anything to do with you or Retribution, mate. God, get away from us.
Oh, poor Ali. He tried so hard with Retribution, nothing came of it. And even now, he's trying to start something with Mansoor. Well, you won't win because you're too nice. Then he wins. Oh.
Yeah, but Stanley Kubrick could have got anything on Retribution, in fairness. I mean, bloody hell. Shut it down. They did. MVP wants to talk business. I've done that bit. Then Kofi goes out and beats Riddle in the hard-fought contest. Good lad. Shayna Baszler comes to... Look, I'll just say this before I get onto this bit, which is obviously the thing that's got Triple H very grumpy this week. I'm at the point now where Monday Night Raw, I'm saying all this stuff. Nothing phases me. Nothing makes me go, what am I doing with my life?
Isn't that sad,
I
though?
know what I'm doing with life. It's watching wrestling. Raw's been like this for forever. We've had The Fiend, the Summer of the Fiend, it's like the Summer of Punk, almost as good. Last year with Randy Orton, and this year with Randy Orton, and everything else like that. I expect this type of stuff from Raw now. I don't expect Raw to be fantastic, because it hasn't been fantastic since, 2005? Whatever.
I know, but that's such an issue. Like, that's embarrassing.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that's
I'm not
embarrassing. No, I think for them it's embarrassing, because Monday, like so many wrestling fans came to the wrestling because of Monday Night Raw. I discovered Monday Night Raw in 1999. That brought me out of me being a lapsed fan, and it was the top wrestling show on television. Ross, I would imagine one of your first wrestling memories was Monday Night Raw, or something from Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, well, eventually when we got Sky in the house in 2004, it was all about Monday Night Raw, the replays on a Thursday night, sat there watching.
There you go. Maff, same with you. One of your, early, I know you've been around for a while as a fan like myself, but like there's early memories from Monday Night Raw being, not a perfect show, but an engaged, impassioned show for the majority of the time, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, apart from the blips like Naked Midian or whatever. Oh, no, I'm not saying that, but
I'm just saying
it's going to be... Yeah, I'm not defending Raw, whatever. I get what you're saying, but...
I'm not defending it either. I'm just saying the fact that we do joke about it so much, and a few people have compared like WWE Raw to like WWF in 1995, when it was just that lack of momentum and that's him. And if you're comparing Raw in 2021 to Raw in 1995, that's embarrassing for the company, because in 95 they had an excuse. They were on their backside. They had no money, they had no viewers, and they had no talent. This is the decade where they literally have so much talent, they're skimming the top of the to chuck it in the bin. They have that much talent. The last week you had enough. In the last 2 weeks we've had enough talent fired from that company to start a rival promotion and do incredibly well. You are not shy of talent. You are not shy of money. You're to bring in people who can engage an audience. It's the fact that people compare it to one of the lowest points in WWF is an embarrassment. And the fact that Monday Night Raw isn't like the flagship show for the company anymore, and it is just this weird running joke. That's him. And we will laugh our socks off in a minute when we talk about what we're going to talk about next. But when you really come away from it, that's embarrassing for the company. That's
Tom,
embarrassing.
how dare you compare 2021 Raw with 1995 Raw? First of all, their ratings were higher than ever, despite some of the less than stellar stuff in 95. Bret Hart was there, Shawn Michaels was there, Razor Ramon was there. How dare you compare this? Just because
mate,
King Mabel...
I'm watching 94 on a regular basis. I know. The Cultaholic Classic Raw Review every Tuesday. I know how bad this time is.
But my point is, Tom, and I get what you're saying, my point is, and we'll try and move on, even though some people might like this passion stuff here. I know Raw's going to be bad. I don't go, oh, God, I have to watch Raw. I know it's going to be pants. I don't see this. I think we'll be possibly beyond this period of, I can't believe
But
how
that's
bad
the
Raw was this
problem.
week. Because it's
Mel,
like going...
no, I think that's a little rubbish, Maffew. We should
think
want it
so?
to be good.
But that's the problem.
No,
That's
I
the
know
problem
I want it to be good as well, but you can't go, let's hope it's good, lads. Oh, it was as bad as it was last week. I'm like, to me, it's like going to somewhere like ordering something spicy, eating it going, bloody hell, this was hot, and going next week, you know what? I think I'll order the exact same thing and see if it's gotten less spicy. And you put it in your mouth and go, bloody hell, that hurt.
It can't
must
be a lot
the
better, though,
curry's
'cause
fault.
there was a period of time where Raw would wipe the floor with SmackDown, but now it's gone completely the other way. Just stuff like this. If stuff like this was the main event of Raw when I was a kid, I don't think I would be sat here today doing this job. Because I wouldn't have much interest in wrestling.
Ross is a Toon fan. Ross is a Magpies fan.
Oh, now you're going to make it really miserable, Tom.
But I would say the better comparison isn't like, oh, this curry going to be spicy this week. It's being a fan of a football club. It's being a fan of a team. And you have weeks and sometimes months on end where you go and you devote your entire Saturday and you build up and you're passionate and you're excited and you get there and they let you down in an hour and a half. And you go home angry, annoyed, wanting Mike Ashley to fall off the face of the earth. And then by the Thursday, you're back in again. You're going, maybe this time. The worst thing you can do with a club is get to a point where you've
lost
go,
all hope.
Well, you've lost all hope. You know, that's so you become a Sunderland fan. But but you don't want to get to the point. Sorry, Malcolm, it's just funny. But you don't get to that point, and I agree with you. Like, no, like this, we're not at that point where we're not willing Raw to be better anymore, and that is the problem. That we're not. We're kind of it's now become like this meme generator where it should actually be like a top compelling wrestling product. The WWE title's on Raw. Like the title with the most lineage in that company is trapped on that show. You know?
Trapped.
It's trapped. The fact that a title that they created for the purpose of a brand split it has far more significance right now than the title that goes back to like the 30s. That, again, is an issue. Anyway. We're not here to talk about wrestling.
About the whole Alexa Bliss thing, right? The whole, like, spooky stuff. I know he said it. I cut myself off, don't worry. The spooky stuff we're seeing with Alexa Bliss. Because obviously when we were growing up, Undertaker was very much a thing on Raw. Kane was very much a thing on Raw. Why was that good and this similar stuff so terrible? Because I can't put my finger on it, because at the very base of what it is, it's pretty much the same thing. But I find Alexa Bliss to be incredibly naff. But Undertaker and Kane still, when I watch it back today, that Undertaker-Kane storyline for me, that was like, you know, that's my favourite storyline ever. And they're two mystical beings who, you know, Kane was making fire come out of his hands, like lightning bolts come out of his glove and stuff. What's the difference? Why can't I put my finger on what the thing is?
Is it the overproduction? Because these segments, like you had like the Kane and Undertaker shooting fireballs at one another on Monday Night Raw. And stuff like that, but like with this, you've got like an underboot cam of Shayna Baszler, and it kind of, when you do stuff that I know you're being very you're pioneering with it, and you're putting together like we make movies, pal. But in doing that, you kind of you let the veil completely slip. Like there is no suspension of disbelief there at all. Whereas the Kane and Undertaker stuff, on the whole, and please correct me if I'm wrong, was shot in the same way they would shoot like a wrestling match.
Yeah,
with the same cameras, the same sort of that. But then when you get these segments where like there is overly heavy production, and it kind of the disbelief suspends somewhat.
It's
Maybe.
taking itself too. It's doing silly stuff, but while doing the silly stuff, it's taking itself too seriously.
Yeah, that's a fair shout.
You might have just cracked it there, Tom. Because when
Yeah.
you think about it, the overproduction does really make you cringe that little bit more, thinking, "Oh, they actually think this is good what they're doing here. They've put a lot of thought into this."
Yeah, I think they do think they're making blockbuster movies.
Wow, what do you reckon, Maffew? I reckon Tom's just cracked it there.
Also, another thing to think about is Undertaker, Kane, they had some silly stuff. Obviously, they were on for ages and stuff. But their characters, you liked them, and the storylines were setups to the matches. The setups to the matches were Undertaker versus Kane, or Undertaker for the title against Austin, or Kane, or whatever. And you go, I want to see that. I have no desire whatsoever to see Shayna Baszler versus Alexa Bliss, who is a kid, or maybe she's possessed, or maybe will just not explain anything. I am kind of intrigued the idea of Shayna Baszler versus a puppet, but I'm also stupid as hell. For people who didn't see Raw this week, and who can blame you, Shayna Baszler comes to the ring where Alexa Bliss's playground is set up. Bliss wants Shayna to apologize to Lily, the puppet, but she stomps on it instead. Pyro goes off. Alexa Bliss is like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Pyro goes off and Shayna goes, oh no, the TVs are going off the blink again. Quick, someone get the slipper and hit him. She runs to the back with camera cuts every 3 seconds.
Everyone else has gone home, even though Raw is still on the air. Why was nobody there? There was nobody there.
There's nobody there. There she sees Lily in a mirror, and she kicks the mirror in terror, and then you see her in the background like duh, 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 and then the screen goes black, and you hear Shayna go ah, and apparently the puppet killed her.
Chilling.
Now, had that been put together in 1999, and just to go back to that point,
Sorry,
the puppet killed Shayna.
that's how Raw ended. The best. Go on, Tom.
Had that been 99, and again, it comes back when Raw used to be, Raw, you'd have had Shayna Baszler run to the back, but instead of camera angle, production, it'd have been one guy with a handy cam following her, and you'd have seen like the trail of cable, and probably the commentator saying, oh, we're going to follow Shayna Baszler and see where she goes. So you would have had that, and it would have felt a bit more in keeping with what they were doing, as opposed to cut now to this movie that we made in Adobe Premiere. Bruce Pritchard really likes it. But the death by doll thing is, I mean, I'm not going to shoot this angle down just yet. I think it's daft. I think it was overly produced and another homogenized episode of Raw. If it leads to Baszler doing some fun character stuff, like Baszler just... What if next week there's Lily.
Emily.
So where Emily came from. There's Lily.
There's two puppets.
And there's a Shayna puppet next to her. And we'd never hear from Shayna again.
How sad.
Yeah. This is great. This is what Monday Night Raw is destined to be. All these years, Kevin Dunn's like, I hate wrestling. I've always hated wrestling. This is what I want to do. This is an art attack.
What I would like to see happen at the start of next week's Raw is the scream that we hear was actually Shayna going, ah, with a knife and just stabbing Lily repeatedly over and over again. This angle will die. It'll die and never come back. She's screaming at the top of her lungs. I used to be a cage fighter. I used to be a serious NXT champion. And she keeps on stabbing Lily in the face. That's what I want to see happen, Maffew and Tom. But interestingly, I made a note here from a promo package earlier on in the night. Do you see the promo package about Alexa Bliss's sort of journey from Alexa Bliss of old to spooky Alexa Bliss?
No, I see Alexa Bliss and I skip ahead. What happened?
Because during that promo, it was like, oh, there was this little girl and she got lost and then spooky stuff grabbed her and took her to the dark side. At no point during that promo package was there any reference, any visual reference to The Fiend. The closest we got was sort of the red lights, like Alexa Bliss bathed in the red lights that appear when The Fiend appears. I find that very interesting because this gimmick has The Fiend at its core. So why would you not at least reference The Fiend at all?
Well, it did lead to people asking, I think PW Insider this week, like, is everything all right with Bray Wyatt and the WWE? Like, is the Rotunda lot all right? And apparently this is all going according to plan.
That was so weird.
I think it's just to push Bray Wyatt and the Fiend so far out of sight and out of mind that when that return happens and we get the intergender match, The Fiend versus Evil Alexa, then it comes as a surprise. But I think the idea is to push Fiend so far out of sight and out of mind that it feels more special when he does return.
I think the best thing about this is the fact that there was that mock conspiracy theory saying The Fiend was actually Bo Dallas all along. We still haven't seen The Fiend since they released Bo Dallas. So all it's done is make people go, wait, was that real? Was he actually Bo Dallas the entire time? Is that why we're not showing him anymore?
It was definitely Bray at WrestleMania.
Was it, though?
Oh, yeah, it was.
How'd you know?
You just tell, can't you? The way he moved.
Well, I thought I could, but where is he then?
The way he moved is, I don't know, a holiday. Gone.
As the Fiend.
As the Fiend on the beach.
John.
No.
John Eiley, Photoshop John Eiley from the Classic Raw and SmackDown review. Can you do the Fiend on a beach, please, mate? Love you. Thank you.
It's a scene where he's about to go to the Epcot Center to see Walter Disney. And they're going, you do know that you do need to wear a mask. And he goes, that won't be a problem. And the camera zooms on his face. So that was Raw.
Oh,
It's
That won't be a
rubbish.
problem. And then they cut and he's put a face mask on over his actual mask.
He's put another one over his mask.
you can't buy them, you know.
what you meant?
I love that they've made them as well. I've seen them, Ross. I've seen them. Like, I haven't seen anybody wearing them yet, but I'm hoping when we get back to the live shows, we'll see them.
A good reason for that, Tom, because I got hooked in because I saw like an original Mask Kane one, so I was like, oh, I've got to get that. It comes with a little thing that goes, this will not protect you from COVID.
Oh, for God's sake!
Don't wear it outdoors, basically.
What's the point?
I can't believe wrestling wrestlers and their merch would be so anti-COVID that even their merch.
To be fair, this was
Was
really
Drake Younger working in the merch department?
He'd be trying to be subtle around these.
Maybe like he was just sat there with a little like needle, just going like putting holes in all the way through, like ha ha ha. We'll create little holes so the COVID can get in. It's not even real. Ha ha ha.
God.
What
So that
an
was
idiot
Raw.
man is.
It's rubbish. You know it's gonna be rubbish.
No, if you enjoyed it, good for you. It's just there's three lads here. I don't think we were taken by it particularly, were we?
Oh, I love laughing at it.
Yeah.
My God, funnier than even a certain Netflix special. That you can vote for
Oh,
the
I mean,
whole thing.
that made me cry, but for a different reason.
What, Sunderland till I die.
Actually, yeah, I think maybe Bo Burnham Inside wasn't the most depressing Netflix special I've seen this year. Sorry, Mackums, I'm giving you a shoe this week. I don't mean to. BBC Radio Sunderland back soon.
It was a really good comp. I've never thought of
God.
my wrestling, WWE fandom being like supporting Newcastle, but it very much is. It's just intrinsically in there, and I can't get rid of it. It's the hope that keeps you coming back every week.
Yeah.
But the hope
WWE
that,
till I die.
hope that, according to Triple H, we're not allowed to have. We're just meant to sit back and just take it. Have no hope.
Just watch it.
Be
if you don't
passive.
like, if a week comes by and you don't like it, stop watching it altogether. Stop talking about it. Just enjoy it. Conform, consume, obey.
Triple H the next conference call. You hope Raw's will be better next week. All right. Hope in one hand, poo in the other. See which one fills up first. NXT! Before the show, we see that Pete... Oh, we haven't got Jack to watch this, so is this where we all rely on one another to have watched
No, I've
this?
watched it. Don't worry, lads. I've watched it.
Oh, thank God.
So should you, by the way, being paid to review wrestling on this podcast. You Triple H, you. I don't know what
Triple H, you, yeah.
Triple H, are you?
Yo. You see that Pete Dunne and Onnie Larkin, good old Wonnie, had a brawl with The Way. This leads to our opening match between Larkin and Austin Theory. Gargano and Dunne brawl and a drag to the back before Larkin picks up the win. Well done, Wonnie.
Great match, I thought. Lovely match. I'm going to save it for a bit later, but that leaping springboard Spanish fly from the very much babyface Austin Theory, I didn't realise how much of a babyface he was, because that's an actual crowd in the CWC, isn't it? Like, it's not like a... Yeah, it's an actual crowd, and they were very much behind Austin Theory. That movie did was sensational, but yeah, very good match. We had Oni being sort of old school and groundy and poundy, but also quite fluid in his technical transitions and whatnot. And then Austin Theory just being a good wrestler, doing lots of nice, aesthetically pleasing moves. I thought it was a very good way to kick off the show. I'll take that $5 now, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah. Santos, just buy it. Just use the $5 for hay fever medicine. Santos Escobar is in the ring with Wild and Mendoza. He calls out Bronson Reed, who appears and is joined by MSK. Escobar challenges them to a 6-man winner-take-all match at In Your House, with both the North American and tag titles on the line. The good guys accept, because they're good guys.
And it's really funny when Big Bronson did a splash against Escobar and the side wall
good.
thing that we had to watch lots of times. And MSK, because they're really funny too, they had to see it some more because it was really, really funny.
Remember they got booed the first time they had crowd.
Yeah, that's why I think Escobar and Pals are going to win, because I don't think MSK are working as a babyface tag team. I don't know what it is about them.
There's something a bit unlikable about them. Like, and some of the promo stuff they've done does feel a little bit like a Raw writer has just turned up to do some holiday cover. And it does feel a little, and I don't know how much of it is them, how much of it is what they're given, and it does feel a bit cringe and a bit They'll be great heels if they let them run as heels.
It's an easy comparison to make, but I reckon the same writer who made Ricochet's promos. Remember when Ricochet would cut promos on Raw where he was being very like, ha 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 ha.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same sort of vibe as that, and I think the sooner they turn him heel, probably the better for me.
It's that and like that Street Profits Ricochet Tyler way where it's like, ha ha ha. I'm like, no one's laughing with you. We're not on the same level, pal. Plus, I think that they've tried too hard, bless them. It's a horrible thing to say about someone, they're trying too hard, but when they've like really tried hard to make gifs sometimes, you can tell wrestlers and other people tried, like, they did the popcorn eating thing, and it's like, yeah, calm down, pal. Like, we don't know you that well. That's
what media is now, isn't it? It's a series of things that can be shared easily online. That's kind of where we're at, isn't it?
You're right, but sometimes, I mean, obviously, yeah, that's what all is, but when it's so obviously done like that, you almost feel against it. You're like, nah, you're trying to make a thing there. Nah. But other times when it happens naturally, you're like, yeah, that's a thing. When you feel like you're making it, it feels great. When you feel like you're being forced to make it, it's like, nah, no. Hey, Rick, hashtag Ricochet with Sheamus's hat. Get it trending. No. No. Mercedes Martinez is set to face an enhancement talent, but she's attacked during entrance by Xia Li. She takes control of the brawl and throws Li over the crowd barrier before beating her opponent instantly. I do watch NXT for the women's wrestling because it's mint, and yeah, this is nice. Get attacked, away, go out, finish the match in seconds. Oh,
do you reckon that was done to make Mercedes look big and strong, to make Xia Li's win on Sunday or Saturday, whatever day it is, all the more impactful, maybe?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Aye, well, it was a nice little angle.
See, I find it amazing how on Monday we had like legit shoot fighter versus creepy person booked one way, and then the next day, legit shoot fighter versus creepy person booked in a very different way, but an incredibly effective way.
Yeah.
Same company.
Do you think Nia Jax is going to have to take a pinfall loss to the puppet to set up Shayna versus the puppet?
Do you know what? Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Why the hell not? Yeah.
All distract. There would be Reginald, the fire, the booking sheet. What will distract Nia for that roll-up finish from the puppet?
She'll just slip over and go, oh,
she'll just fall over.
Just the puppet disappearing into a hole.
And Dandy will stand on the apron doing this. Because that's the gimmick, isn't it, for Dandy, for Dana Brooke and Mandy.
And then Nia sits down and she next to Drew Gulak says, oh, I know your pain. You know, he's got a flower up his bum. Just hasn't removed for weeks. Triple H and Regal greet Poppy backstage. Triple H asks when her new NXT soundtrack is dropping, and she says, right now, before pressing a button. And apparently it's like the nuclear button. Beep. The dad says here, the dads are impressed.
Yeah. This had all the energy of like a family reunion, and then like your dad and your uncle chatting to your sister about pop music. It had all that energy in it, and I don't know. It felt very awkward for everyone involved.
I thought it was fantastic. I need a carry-on film to make a comeback with William Regal in the starring role, because his facials all the way through that segment were absolutely fantastic.
I think it'd be funny if William Regal had led it rather than Triple H, and just Regal going, "What, you press play on your bloody phone and it goes all over the place." I think, oh, you kids today with your Spotifys. I think it would have been funnier coming out of Regal's mouth. Triple H because Triple H always tries, like, he'll be geeky and dorky, but he'll always try and he'll try and maintain as much cool as he can.
He's the dad who gives you a glass of wine when you're like 8 years old and he's Triple H. So him having that role, yeah, it would have been better if it was Regal. But still, it was a great. And then when Indy came in at the end, heartbreaking scenes. She got the wrong end of the stick, bless her. It was just a meaningless hug. You know, we've all been there with lasses, haven't we? We've all drawn a picture and then they've rubbed that picture against their face very tenderly. Then we've gone in for a very cardboard hug. Oh, poor
It's
Indy.
not what you think. She's famous. I asked Triple H for some poppers and he gave me this. There's been a horrible miscommunication. Moving on. We get vignettes throughout the show of LA Knight being a classy rich guy and Cameron Grimes being a very unclassy rich dude.
Man.
This was superb. It was the LA Knight one was just brilliant. Like he I know it's a cliche and everybody says it, but there's so much rock-like charisma falling off LA Knight, like without even trying. Like him in the jacuzzi with the women laughing, like getting them to laugh. And he goes, "Okay, stop laughing now." And the bit with Cameron Grimes stole the week for me. Is Grimes, who is sat in this chair, like, welcome to my home, to the moon and all that, and he's got a cigar, and he's puffing this cigar. And he's like, here, I'm like Ted DiBiase. And his eyes are red, and the tears running down his eyes. I'll have a shot of whiskey. And he's like coughing, yeah, look, son, I'm a millionaire. It's just, Sunday, Cameron Grimes, I think, has the opportunity to become the number one babyface on NXT. I am. That's for me this Sunday. That's the match I care about the most.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
$1 million ladder match. I love everything they've done here, and I mentioned it on Twitter. When I watched this bit, I was like, why is the same company making Big Macs on a Monday and then Wagyu beef the next day? Like, because this is so good, like so beautifully done. And Grimes is a star. He's a star. He's just owned this $1 million redneck thing. He's so good.
I don't know if Triple H was working the marks, so to speak, on that conference call, but he said that Cameron Grimes doesn't drink and Cameron Grimes doesn't smoke, but they gave him real alcohol and a real cigar when they could have faked that stuff. So the tears and the redness in the eyes were legitimate. So that's dedication to the role. But still, why not just give him some fake alcohol? And I don't know. He looked genuinely in pain. I felt a bit bad for him in his $1 million mansion. But just the LA Knight. I didn't watch much of him before NXT. The most captivating wrestler in all of wrestling for me when he's got a microphone in hand. I got scoffed at by both Maffew and Jack when I compared him to The Rock a few weeks ago on the podcast.
Oh, mate, I would not have scoffed at you. I'm 100% with you.
Oh,
100%.
The words are so fluid, Tom. They're so fluid coming out of his mouth. Incredible scenes.
There's a charisma that many people couldn't even hope to reach with their fingers.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Look, we've got
Dummy, yeah.
He's got charisma. I'm not disagreeing with that. I said it. I thought it was very wonderful in Impact with his delivery and stuff like that. He was in a weird position where he was very good talking, but also very good at being stupid. And then something, he won the Impact title. Bit on there, but I wouldn't compare it to Rock. Ricky Starks is The Rock. There can't be two Rocks.
No. Of course I can.
He'd be Don Morocco.
I could 100% compare him to The Rock. 100% compare him to The Rock. It's like, do you know you can make him perfectly in 2K19 because they've actually got Eli Drake's walk-on entrance is in the create an entrance bit where he does the ding, ding, ding. So you can, if you are that inclined to make creator wrestlers in 2K19, not 2K20, it's a bin fire. But 2K19, you can make Eli Drake or LA Knight.
I love how he's nicked Benjani Muaruari's gimmick from the football. Anyone remember Benjani Muaruari for Portsmouth when his celebration would be that point to the fans? Fantastic stuff.
Did not know that. That's a lovely factoid.
You don't have to
Say his name again.
Benjani Muaruari.
It's a beautiful name.
I can see it. Yeah.
Ben Jari.
Triple H is doing that backstage, like, your cut. I
tell you what, though, Cameron Grimes, his car was nicer. It was a Bentley, I think, or was it Rolls Royce? I'm not too sure. I can't remember. Not got it written down. And his house was nicer. Therefore, I believe that Cameron Grimes has got to win. I hope they do make Cameron Grimes. I'm sorry, Triple H, for doing this again, but I do hope that Cameron Grimes wins. Because that one hell of a moment that will be. I hope they do. Like, it looks like LA Knight's going to win, but then no, something happens.
See, I'm predictions. I've picked LA Knight to win. I think LA Knight with Ted DiBiase there, Knight with the $1 million title initially, because I think there's money in the chase for Grimes, who's like, I want that title, I want to be a $1 million man, and LA Knight with that belt, just cutting promos about how rich and gorgeous he is. It's just money. Have Grimes win it, and then once Grimes wins it, he can just treat it like dirt. Like he can keep dropping it on the floor. He'll spill some whiskey on it. It's just that, all of that, please. Thank you.
I just want Grimes to win. Then next week's NXT, just have a live sex celebration with him and Ted DiBiase. Satin pajamas.
Yeah.
Satin pajamas, a lovely satin bedspread.
John, no, actually, John, no, don't do that.
No, don't.
John, no.
Ted DiBiase in lingerie.
Close Photoshop, John. Close Photoshop.
And Triple H is like, well,
Stop watching.
Cameron Grimes doesn't have sex, so we got him real sex for that segment. Stop complaining. And you know what? At the start of all this, when it was starting on TV, it's like, Ted DiBiase. I'm like, is this another angle where they're going to put the old 80s WF dude over more than the current dudes? I'm sick of these. But they've done such a good job of utilizing Ted DiBiase to get these two guys over. I'm like, yes, perfect usage of a legend. Thank you. As long as
They're
Ted DiBiase's
actually
like,
really good
I'm
with that
the
on
manager
NXT.
now. It's like, no, go away, Ted. But the fact that they got I thought it was funny they got the golden ladder. I went, hang on. That's Goldust's gimmick. Oh, no, wait. They've added little dollar signs. Oh, now it's Ted DiBiase. Yay.
That was majestic, the way that sort of flew into the ring and sort of bent in the...
Oh, and it was a nice... Yeah, little turn.
Lovely angle on it, wasn't there?
Nice that was. I think on the whole, NXT have been really good at using their sort of legend characters in a way that puts over the other ones. Like Shawn Michaels turning up ahead of Escobar versus Devlin, coming down and just putting the ladder in the ring, keeping it simple. Didn't like it.
It would have been all right, except the other guys went, Shawn Michaels, what are you doing?
What are you doing here?
It's just like that, like the dripping from their tongues. Like, Shawn Michaels, like, you muppets, you nerds. Guys, look. It's like, yeah, he's your boss. You see him every week, idiot. Anyway, the Grizzled Young Veterans beat August Gray in 205 Live's Ike Manjaro. Who? Despite Ciampa and Thatcher watching on from the outside. Gibson cuts a promo after the match and challenges them to a tornado tag next week. Ciampa and Thatcher accept and charge the ring, and the Grizzled Young Vets bravely run away.
Shout out to Zach Gibson's wrestling boots. Oh, they're modelled, Maffew and Tom, on football boots from the early 2000s.
I'm glad you've spotted that as well.
Waiting
it's
for
a
a
nice
wrestler
call.
to do it, yeah. I've never seen a wrestler do it before where they've actually taken a design of a football boot and put it on a wrestling boot. It was fantastic.
My concern is that should Zach finally be recognised for what he is, how brilliant he is, they'll take him to Raw, they'll see NXT and they'll go, we make him a footballer, pal.
He just volleys people like John Smith. Have it!
And then they make him a full-on footballer who can only kick. And then they go, this hasn't worked. I don't understand.
Just imagine
He
him
was
coming
so
down-
good at NXT.
Just imagine his entrance being like the stereotypical. He's got the scarf. He's going. Da, 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 da.
This guy's a footballer.
He's waiting in the gorilla position just there. The one's like, just waiting
Football
around.
is a sport that is big in the European section of the world.
the mining town of Europe.
Yeah, the small mining
3
towns
miles
of
from
Europe.
London.
They love soccer. Sometimes they get audiences of up to 100 people to watch the games.
Oh, imagine Michael Cole describing the offside rule and VAR.
His head would explode.
Brian Alvarez. His shirt sleeve is past the line.
I might ask Dave Meltzer to explain the offside rule, but then take a week off to hear it.
Come back. You go up from a restaurant in town to come back and
So then the players, they come around here. But except when they don't, when they might go around there.
yeah.
Plans changed when VAR kicked in, though. Writes itself in it for Dave.
Oh, nice.
The referee made one call, then plans changed
Nice.
when VAR came in. But I could watch, honestly, Gibson selling a massive forearm from one of the jobbers who wasn't August Gray. What's he called? The guy with the... Yeah, him. Zach Gibson selling that forearm, I watched it a few times. That is a gifable moment. But not quite an award which is coming up very soon.
I've been waiting for this. The build. Yeah, I hope they've got those new trainers that they do stuff they used to do at school where Thatcher goes, hey, I like your trainers, Gibson. What brand are they? Kickers? Oh, don't mind if I do. Just me? No. Everyone going, no, Matthew, we didn't have Kickers trainers. What are you tramp?
Puma, don't mind if I do. And then a Puma.
That's just like, whatever.
I remember
It's
the Kickers school shoes with like the red and the green thing on it, was it? Was that Kickers? I was a Clark's man myself. Like, I would go down to Clark's, me.
Don't mind if I do. Bank clock gets thrown at you.
Yeah. Predators. Oh, okay. Puts on a mask.
In
Gets
wrestling? Never.
Hey. No comment. Think about the money. Candice LeRae calls out Poppy for upsetting Indy Hartwell and taking all the attention. Poppy arrives and admits she's not a wrestler, but she knows someone who is. Io Shirai returns. I was always going to be Bad Bunny. Returns and kicks Candice out of the ring.
This was fantastic, this.
Yeah.
As shocked as I was to see Io back in NXT, because I thought she was finished then, maybe going on to pastures new.
Yeah.
But if she doesn't want to go, I think that's fair play. Happy where you are, but I thought it was masterfully done. A lovely use of Poppy.
Nice. It was, again, like, well done, well put together. I think it was just... I didn't enjoy the bit behind the scenes of Triple H and Regal as much as everybody else did, but I thought this was good. I like, Poppy's good as a character in NXT, like sort of the Bad Bunny of NXT. Maybe not make her wrestle, but I don't know. She might be really good. I might be doing her a great disservice. She might come in and do a Hurricane Rana.
Yes, she might. Ember Moon beats Dakota Kai via DQ after interference from Raquel Gonzalez. Ember wins the subsequent brawl and hits Gonzalez with the Eclipse before holding the champ's title up above her. Good for her. Good for Ember.
It was a good match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit.
It's not often they have bad matches in the women's division in NXT.
No, but this one was a different level, Maffew, because Richard, it's time to play the thing.
Oh my! Oh baby!
That's right, everybody. Thank you to Kylo Voss for the submission of that jingle for Ross Tweddle's Move of the Week, which this week was Ember Moon's Somersault Stunner. Because I don't think I've seen that before, and it's mighty effective and very pleasing on the eye. Kylo Voss. I need to thank Ty Detling as well for his submission in the mailbag this week, but he just got pipped at the final post.
Can we all submit jingles?
Why, aye.
Cool. Leave that with.
Sweet. Oh no, Tom's face lit up there, ear to ear.
I doubt it'll be arousing as Kylo Voss's submission though, because
I don't think it will be. I don't think it will.
Oh, is that
be.
the one you're using?
Oh, that's in
okay,
there.
Right.
Oh, it's in there, baby.
Oh no. Okay.
I'll have a go at making something similar, but I'll do it on company time.
Oh, Tom, points ahead, smart like wrestler. And then Karrion Kross calls out all of his opponents on Sunday. O'Reilly? No, not really. Gargano and Dunn all come out and cut promos on him, basically tell him he's all rubbish. But Adam Cole appears on the Tron and says he isn't coming out. He says he'll win the title in your house and prove Kross's reign was nothing but a disappointment. O'Reilly calls Cole a coward and slaps Kross. We get a big old brawl with Kross standing tall at the end until Cole arrives and takes him out at the end. Oh. Yeah, it's been a good few weeks for Kross, hasn't it? Where someone came out and told him he was rubbish, then someone else came out and said he was rubbish, and then someone else said he was rubbish, and they got laid out by Adam Cole. Good on you, Kross.
There's a big disconnect for me here, because when I've been watching Karrion Kross, in matches, he wins like with a plum. So why are people like Gargano calling him uncoordinated, and Kross and Kyle calling him insecure? I don't understand. That's a disconnect.
Yeah, like the character is somebody who very quickly will finish you off, and it's almost like everyone's trying to be a little bit shoot on him, going, "Hey, you're a golden child. You're not that good, really. You're all this," and it's like the only way they can fix this is on Sunday, like. And this is a callback to what I did for predictions. You know how Roman stacked Edge and Daniel Bryan?
Yeah.
Stack all four.
Like
Climb on the
snap.
top. Yeah. Climb on top like the Princess of the P. See if you can feel a P between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Pin them all at the same time. Stack them.
I like that.
See if you can feel a P between... That was a sentence. Copperfield.
It's all right. By this point, the YouTube censors aren't watching this far. They've gone, oh, God, shut up already.
Shut up, man.
Well, that was a big old week of wrestling. Good God, it was a long bit.
It was, aye.
So we all need a break. We'll get ready for the next bit.
Let's have a rummage in our mailbags.
Now let's have a little old rummage in the mailbag with Maffew, Ross, Tom, and...
An interesting looking dog.
Oh, is this to balance things out now, is it? Oh, I see.
Cats equal stats, don't they? I don't think he wants to...
A myth.
I don't think he wants to stay though. You might stick around. Don't lean on the keyboard because Daddy's recording things.
Never work with animals or kids.
If the audio stops, we're gonna have problems. Are you not staying? Okay. I bought some Dreamies. I might bring him back during the mailbag.
That segment was paid for by the Dogs Are Better Than Cats segment. Okay. Thank you.
Brought to you by Dreamy Shadow Legends.
Anyway, mailbag number 1. All right, lads, what's the crack? Like so many others, I want to say thank you for the hours of priceless entertainment you provide on a weekly basis. If it weren't for you, I would have lost my passion for wrestling long ago. There are so many Vince McMahon pet peeves that we've all heard of through the years, but one I agree with is calling belts championships. I always thought belts sounded so worthless, whereas championship adds a gravity and importance to the object. So my question is, are there any McMahonisms that are disregarded by the wrestling community at large, but that you actually agree with? Thanks again for all you do, Eric from Dublin. Thank you very much, Eric.
McMahonisms.
Wrap. That's essentially all a burrito is. So I agree with Vince McMahon on calling it a meat wrap.
I'm a big fan of eating a bottle of water.
We make movies.
We make movies, pal. I agree with Vince's sleeping pattern. I think, like Vince, I'd sleep for about 3.5 to 4 hours a day. So I agree with that to an extent. I think on the whole, right, over the years, Vince McMahon has had a lot of hits with ideas and stuff. I think it's just over the last many others that the cracks have shown.
I tell you what, on a serious note, I agree with his penchant for a big sweaty man.
Yeah.
Because when WWE get a big sweaty man brawl, right, I'm thinking of SummerSlam 2017 with the 4-way. I'm thinking of Braun Strowman just doing big crazy things when he used to do that sort of stuff. That is a lot better for me than watching little lads in kick pads doing it. It's just something way more impressive than when a big lad does something like that. Brody Lee flying through the ropes doing a tope, stuff like that. So I agree with his penchant. Not always, not when they have no charisma, but when they've got charisma and big muscles as well. I agree with that.
There you go.
Go on then.
I'm going to go with one of my favourite McMahon stories that Paul Heyman said one time, so it definitely happened, was that Heyman had heard that Vince McMahon can grow a pretty impressive beard, but he doesn't have it grown out. So he said to Vince something like, why don't you grow your beard out? Apparently it looks really good on you. And Vince McMahon looked at Paul Heyman and said, because I can't let it win. For years, I had that conception as well, just because I can grow a pretty alright beard very easily. This is only a few weeks after I shaved it then. It's like, no, I am in control of my baby face. And it's taken me during lockdown for everyone to go, Maffew, you look so much better with a beard. Never go clean shaven again. Me to, okay, right. But I still like the idea of like, yeah, I'm going to get you facial hair.
That does ring fairly true because it falls in line with the theory that Vince McMahon hates sneezing. Like with a passion. It was sneezes. It was sneezes he doesn't like because...
Yes, Stephanie confirmed this.
Because he can't control them. He's livid about it.
I imagine him sneezing going, damn it.
Yeah, I imagine he gets really angry when he sneezes.
He's just getting mad.
Vince McMahon. 10 milligrams.
Hashtag 10-minute twaddle.
10-minute twaddle. But apart from that, sadly, because of wrestling, the McMahonisms, I'm not sure if the McMahonisms or just how commentators talk, but I sadly do say, nonetheless, the wherewithal, or the stuff you hear all commentators saying, because McMahon said them on commentary, and I guess he's yelling at people to say them.
What a maneuver.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, no, we got him.
Yeah. No,
And,
we got him.
2, 1. Oh, I digress. Never used to say these things, but because I listen to wrestling, specifically WWE, they're part of my everyday vocabulary nowadays.
Good shout. I'm sticking with eating water.
What's that from?
Beyond
It
the
was
mat.
from Beyond the Mat, where he goes, we make movies, and then he drinks this bottle of water, but he does it in a way like he's biting into water.
Oh.
He drinks bottles of water weird.
It's just very aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange fellow.
I digress. Next question. Hello, lads. I've been a huge fan since the WC. must mean WCW, and this is my first time emailing in. I hope you guys saw last weekend that Triple H attended the first game of my 76ers, saying that right, second round playoff matchup against the Atlanta Hawks. As someone who hasn't got a chance to attend a wrestling show, I lost my mind when DX's theme hit and Triple H came out with Joel Embiid. I'm getting that right. Seeing my favorite basketball player parading around the court, crotch chopping with Triple H, made me think of a question. Has wrestling ever intersected with a specific niche interest of yours? Ooh. P.S. Jack, oh, here we go. This is your invitation to jump on the Sixers bandwagon since things aren't looking so great for your Cavaliers these days. Love the pod and keep up the great work. Josh from Philly. Oh, I hope Jack sees that and he's very invested. In
terms of football, that isn't like, it's not Wayne Rooney slapping Wade Barrett or Vinnie Jones appearing on that random pay-per-view. Yeah. Arsenal, at the moment, have done this weird thing where the players are running it back out from the changing rooms for the second half, and they're playing wrestlers' themes on the tannoys. Like, Arsenal's running out, and Triple H's The Game is playing inside the Emirates Stadium. It's a weird... And they've done it loads of times. I think Batista was played one week, John Cena as well. They've done it a few times now, and it's a very weird thing.
Is that like a BT Sport thing to coincide? Like, hey, also...
No, this is just like inside the Emirates. It's not affiliated to any sort of...
okay.
I don't think that when football teams play music inside the stadium, like before a game or just before or during halftime or when the players are coming back out, it's affiliated to the TV sponsors or anything. But yeah, it's only at the Emirates. It doesn't happen anywhere else in football, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, whoever does the CD playing at the Emirates Stadium obviously has a few.
Jim Johnston.
Yeah.
Oh.
I always get a buzz seeing wrestlers popping up in TV and in films. Like, and whenever I'm with people, I always have this urge just to go, like if we're watching the Sherlock Holmes movie, go, oh, there's Kurgan! Like, and they go, who's Kurgan? Well, I can tell you. I like when that happens a bit. I mean, the only time I can... It's one thing I can think of in non-wrestling life, like, my dad's not a wrestling fan, but every so often he'll say, hey, Bushwhackers, how are they doing? And to the point where I got a chance to interview the Bushwhackers, and I did it just so I could ask on behalf of my dad, how are you doing? But like the other night, actually no, it would have gone back about a month now, where Dad rang me. Normally when Dad rings me, like, oh, is everything all right? And he said, hey Tomo, I'm just watching Joe Rogan, and that Undertaker's an interesting lad. I was like, yeah, he is, yeah. And my dad's there going like, do you know he's never not been the Undertaker? Like, he's always been like, until now. Like, now is the first time he's talked about it. And he was quoting stuff like the Undertaker talked about. And that's it. And I started watching him on YouTube. And hey, that was a good match he had against Austin that time. And it was just this weird little bonding moment with me and my dad where we're talking about the Undertaker. And I think that's the only other time I can think where it's sort of fallen into real life. You hear the odd mention of it on TV shows, and you always and it pops you when they do. There was the one that sprang to my mind was on Ed, and Eddie. This is a really obscure one. It was Ed, and Eddie, where they had an episode where they were wrestling or fighting or something. I think they were wrestling because then one of the characters said, "Oh, wrestling! I like it when you do that thing with your eyebrow." And we all, like wrestling fans, knew what it meant, but it didn't exist long enough for anybody who wasn't a wrestling fan to be bothered by it. But everybody who was a wrestling fan went, it's a thing with The Rock. Oh, that's a thing.
I want to go back and see that now because I used to love Ed, and Eddie.
Yeah, I can't remember the episode that it's from, but it was a cheeky little nod to The Rock.
There was one on Twitter that went viral-ish. This means a lot of people saw it. It doesn't mean it went proper viral, but like they're eating really dodgy burgers, and then Ed has got a straw. And this guy's just like, is this a dude's reaction? Yo, he's drinking a burger! It's like, yes, because that's how I watched it as a kid as well. But obviously he's a grown man. Like, yeah! I'm going to go with the fact that, other than hearing parents talk about stuff with wrestling, I think my mum, she was like, a few years ago, was like, oh, have you heard about that WWE wrestler who's gay? Like, publicly. And I'm like, wow. My mum's heard about Darren Young. That's amazing. And anyway, she went, no, Pat Patterson. I went, Pat Patterson's gay? What? No one told me, Mum. Stop reading those dirt sheets.
I was hoping she was going to say Billy and Chuck.
That would be even better. But I guess that went in a few like news sources. That's right. Pat Patterson comes out as gay. I'm like, oh, great. But I'm gonna say better than that is when Hulk Hogan used to show up on things because he made cameo appearances on stuff like Spy Hard with Leslie Nielsen. It's like the troops are, oh no, there's too many of them, and then Hogan shows up. And then it's like, yay, Hogan! And then some other stuff happens, and it cuts back, and Hogan's getting beat up, and this old woman has to save him. And that was good. But then his best appearance, I think, cameo-wise, other than Gremlins, because that's like prime Hogan.
Gremlins was great.
Gremlins one's good, but I think one that doesn't get enough love is Muppets in Space, when he shows up, and he's like...
He cuts a heel promo, doesn't he?
He cuts a promo, because he was NWO Hogan then. So he starts cutting a promo going... That's right, and I forget which...
I'll still make your liver quiver is a line that
I'll still make your liver quiver, yeah. And then they're like, no, Hogan, stop doing that. Stop cutting promos. You don't do that anymore. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry about that. This is so unexpected. It's like, yes, that's right. It's me, Hogan, as NWO Hogan. Ha ha ha. Like, no, stop. Oh, sorry. Yeah, right. It's such a funny cameo. So yeah, I'll go with that.
Nice.
It's always nice when you get your parents talking to you about, have you seen that? Yes, I have, thank you.
The only way my mum does it is she watches Jonathan Ross. She goes like, Ross, did you see that wrestler on Jonathan Ross? And it's always like Batista or someone like that. I'm like, nah, I didn't see it on Jonathan Ross. Because I can't stand Jonathan Ross.
Oh, why aren't you a fan of Jonathan Ross?
I just, there's something about him. Don't like him, Tom.
He's not the greatest of interviewers. Like,
there's nothing really offensive about the guy, is there? Apart from maybe Andrew Sachs or whatever it was back in the day.
Apart from that malarkey, but I think Graham Norton is a superior chat show host. I think Graham Norton gets more out of his guests than Jonathan Ross does.
I think Jonathan Ross was way better on the radio. It's way better, much more relaxed. But when you have to get him in that tight timing and all right, get the stuff in there, it can be a bit like, all right, calm down, pal.
It must be a really hard job, that, like a TV chat show host with the as you say, the timings and whatnot. Yeah, very hampering. Very hampering. Is that... Oh, shut up, Ross. We've been going for 2 hours, 24 minutes currently on the recording.
Great timing.
Ross shooting on everybody else in show business with the word Ross in their name. Jonathan Ross, Jim Ross. No Ross is safe. Hello, dudes. Hope you're all well. Here's something a bit different for you to try. A wrestling version of Play Your Cards Right. Oh, here we go. So, Maffew, please pass hosting duties over to whoever was in charge of the mailbag this week. Who was that?
Maffew, you can just read it yourself. Cause
yeah, that's right. Me.
I read the first one, but that was it. So I know what the first answer is, but that's it.
Ross, I trust you to not go to levels of cheating on a mailbag question with this.
It means a lot, okay?
Yeah. For those not aware, Play Your Cards Right is basically a game of higher or lower. For this, all the answers are from Wikipedia, so please don't blame me if you disagree. Here's an example. We start off with the number of Ric Flair's recognised World Championships, 16. And then higher or lower number of Undertaker wins in his streak, which is 21. So the correct answer is higher. And we carry on with 21 being the starting point for the next question. Ooh.
Okay.
So let's try this, see if we can play our cards right.
Do.
Nice.
Nothing for a pair.
Not in this game. Oh, God. Let's begin. Number 1, amount of people Kane has eliminated from the Royal Rumble.
Higher than 21. I'm going to say higher.
Higher as well.
Oh, no, sorry, the way this is written, beg your pardon. It's that or number of people who have been WWE champion. So the starting number is Kane. Eliminating
WWE champion higher.
Yeah, I'll say WWE champion's higher as well.
It certainly is. 52 WWE champions compared to 42 Kane eliminations. So 52 is the number. Number of world champions. Oh, no, we're not. It's separate each. Why have you said that?
Come on, Bruce!
Yeah, hang on. He said it, do it like this, and it's like number of... No, he has done it. Fantastic. He's just...
God, imagine Price is Right was like this in real life.
Number of world champions.
I'm just reading the email now, and he's written it very strangely.
Higher or lower, so 52,
52.
than NWO members. And it says original NWO, not Hollywood or Wolfpack. Except,
Well, lower then.
Yeah, lower.
Obviously lower.
Yeah, way lower. 52 champions compared to 28 NWO members. And I think he got sick of counting all the NWO spin-offs on Wikipedia. Went, oh, to hell with this. So, not 28 is the number. Higher or lower, members of the Bullet Club compared to the NWO. Oh, the NWO original, remember?
Lower than 28.
I'm going to say higher just to be awkward.
It is higher. 28 NWO compared to 29 Bullet Club.
Cuddly tie. Cuddly tie.
Take a look at what you could do.
What
Now
the
do it.
point,
Bullseye,
mate?
that's bullseye. Have a look at
Now we've gone over to John Virgo for the trick shot. So we're on 29.
It's like a Pacitti Tuesday night stream.
Yeah,
This is ticking all the boxes.
What the points make?
Trick shots.
Barrymore Pool Party.
Oh, no.
Bullet Club members, higher or lower than the number of In Your House pay-per-views?
Has there been more than 29? You
Because they
don't
stopped
get
counting.
anything
didn't they?
for a
I'm gonna
pound.
say lower.
Yeah, I'll go low as well.
It is 29 Bullet Club compared to 28 In Your Houses.
Oh, not much.
Ooh, nasty. In Your House pay-per-views, 28 is the number. Higher or lower, Vince McMahon's days as WWE Champion?
He was
Lower.
Oh, yeah.
Lower because I would say why, but lower.
Why
Yeah,
not?
way lower. 4 days as champ compared to
Because
28.
he forfeited the
He
title.
He did a thing where he went, excuse me while I whip this out, and he showed it, and it just sounds wrong, doesn't it? Vince McMahon's days as champ for higher or lower length of the shortest match in Mania history.
Well,
It was
so it's higher than 4 days. Is the shortest match of WrestleMania 4 days
in
long?
seconds, I should add. Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
The shortest King Kong Bundy went 4 days.
it felt like it.
In seconds. Oh yeah, 4, yeah, because it's the shortest match is 3 seconds, isn't it? Because it's Rock versus Eric Rowan.
Dead right. Yeah, higher, 6 seconds compared to Vince McMahon's 4 days. Anyway, length of the shortest Mania match, 6 seconds, higher or lower. Number of names the WWE Championship has had in its lifetime. Oh.
WWF.
That's the title name's higher than 6. What a lovely audience! I've just got an
so
enemy.
good to see it. I'll have a pee, please, Carol.
I've got an enemy list here of like Bruce's best catchphrases. One of them was
3.
"Give us a twirl." From the Generation game, Bruce would say this to the hostess Anthea Redfern so she could show off her dress.
Not guilty.
Oh, Christ.
Phrase from.
Wow.
What was the number we're playing off?
6.
Yes. Higher or lower than 6?
Okay, I'm going to say
Higher.
It is. Can you name all of them, Tom? You're doing a good job of actually.
WWF
Yep.
Heavyweight Championship, WWF Heavyweight Championship, Undisputed WWF Championship, Undisputed WWE Championship, WWE Championship, WWE World Heavyweight Championship, WWE World Championship. They dropped the heavyweight.
There was that
Right?
weird period of time
They
between
dropped
like,
the world. So it was
Yeah.
WWE Heavyweight, WWE World Heavyweight. And now it's back to being the WWE Championship again.
Right.
So, yeah. Well done.
Thank
I
you.
could have done that. I would have gone the big belt thing.
Thank you.
Number of WWE Championship names, higher or lower? German suplexes Lesnar gave to Cena at SummerSlam 2014. Do you
oh, that was like 14, wasn't it?
higher.
Higher.
Yeah, higher.
remember the number,
14.
Tom?
I'll have a guess at 17.
Close but no cigar. 16 suplexes. So
Oh, you
right.
son of a proverbial.
Son of a twirl.
So, he would give us a suplex, and he did. To show off Cena's dress. Number of Brock's German suplexes, higher or lower? Number of seconds taken for Triple H to pin Booker T up the pedigree at Mania 19.
Oh.
2 mentions on the podcast this week. Sweet.
Higher. It was
Higher.
4 days, wasn't it? It was higher.
16 suplexes compared to 23 seconds.
What a bastard.
Look, if you don't like it, stop watching. Stop ruining it.
This interview is over. Just flips the table.
Watch Takeover on Sunday. Or not.
And the last one, seconds taken to pin Booker T, higher or lower than the length of the Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus match at WrestleMania 30.
Lower.
Yeah, lower, but not by much.
It was 23 seconds compared to 18 seconds
Oh,
for
there we
Sheamus
go.
to beat Bryan.
Beginning of the Yes movement.
Certainly was. Nice to see it.
Nice.
Not guilty.
No, oh God. Hope you enjoyed, and 10 questions wasn't too many. Thanks for all the entertainment. Graham, or GN Dub, as Maffew calls me on Twitch. Oh, thank you, GN Dub.
Thank you, Graham. Oh, War Graham. Let's go and have a chat with War Graham.
And that was all the questions and thoughts in the mailbag this week. If you do have any thoughts of your own, please keep them to yourself. Send them to mailbag@cultaholic.com.
What a lovely audience. Yes, so much better than last week.
Time for Reese's Pieces. Dearest Diddlers, in 2016, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho proposed to Vince McMahon a buddy cop movie for WWE Studios. Sadly, Vince didn't approve the pitch, and I think we can agree the world is worse off for it. However, it did give us an idea for Reese's Pieces. Below is a list of wrestling duos, and you lovely gents have to choose which ones you would rather see in a buddy cop movie of the Lethal Weapon / Tango and Cash / Turner and Hooch, etc. variety. Yeah, they're very similar. Okay, so let's have a look at this. And so, fastest thought first. The Fashion Police or the Good Brothers?
Fashion Police.
Yeah, Fashion Police. on that
Absolutely
one.
Fashion Police. Not picking the Good Brothers for anything. Adam Page and John Silver or Tony Schiavone and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD?
Dummerder and TS.
What was the first one?
Adam Page and John Silver.
Yeah, I think Baker and Shivani. Damn it, Shivani. We've got 3 weeks to crack this case.
Yeah, damn it. I'm a dentist, not a doctor. Whatever. Yeah, that would work. AJ Styles and Omos or Enzo and Cass?
Oh, AJ and Omos, I enjoy their japery.
I think Enzo and Cass would be fun. Just Enzo running into ganglands and going, "Hey, we're going to arrest you." And then Cass just battering them all. That'd be more fun.
I just want I don't know. I could see people turn themselves in just to Enzo talking. Like, all right, I did it, I confess. Yeah. So Enzo and Cass. Corey Graves and Brian Saxton or JBL and Maggle Cole?
Oh, JBL and Maggle Cole.
Jebby and Maggle.
Yeah. Shut up, Maggle. Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory?
First ones.
I think Ciampa and Thatcher, like they are literally the grizzled young veterans of wrestling. So, as opposed to the others, but I think they'd be good cops.
Yeah. I picked the likable ones, Thatcher and Ciampa. Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, or Killian Dane and Drake Maverick?
Oh, Dana Maverick. Like the name Drake Maverick lends itself to being a cop.
Yeah.
It really does.
I agree.
I'd have Drake Maverick sat in the police car. Killian Dane gets in, and the seat goes whoop! Whoa! What a funny start. They are so different. They'll never get on.
Oh no, hang on. I've got your meal. This is banquet as opposed to some rice cakes. Yeah, I can see that going well. Yeah, I'll pick them as well. Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela or Eugene and William Regal?
Oh. Oh.
I think Kiss and Janela. I'm going to say Kiss and Janela. They'd be fun. That'd be a fun show.
How do you pick Eugene in this situation? It's aged like milk on a hot summer's day.
Do you not think it's age? I still think it's
Eugene.
yeah.
Oh, no.
I think it's a good gimmick.
We're poking fun at
No, they weren't. No. I think everyone worried about that, but the fact that we're going to detail about this other things. Yeah, obviously he had that, but he could also wrestle really well.
Very rarely, though.
Well, the first year and a bit when it was like, whoa, he's hitting stunners and rock bottoms and winning tag titles.
And
then everyone hated him and Triple H killed him at SummerSlam and everyone cheered.
Was it SummerSlam 2005 we had that match with Angle?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. SummerSlam he lost to Triple H.
Was.
And Angle was like, no. Eugene's run its course.
What a match that was. I'll go for the first ones.
Just to be defiant, I'm picking Eugene. And because it's Regal. You can carry anybody to anything. Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell, or Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander?
Cassidy and Statlander would get old very quickly, I think. So I'll go for the other ones.
I'm going to go with Cassidy and Statlander, as long as it's a limited series.
It's a
6
TikTok.
episodes. I want 6 TikToks and we're done.
She's an alien, he's a mute.
That's it.
The funny here we can't compute. We're sending them right down the chute to solve some crimes today. There you go. And you get ready for my jingle, Ross. Get ready.
I'll pick Loomis and Indy Hartwell, or their jingle P. One of them likes Dexter, the other one's a serial killer. She's gone, no one knows where.
He's a creep, damsel in distress, but the creep likes her to lure her into a false sense of security. I've died a death. The creep will tie up the damsel and he'll laugh. Ha ha, she's in me basement.
And then they'll solve some crimes.
And then Dexter says, I love Indy Hartwell, but I couldn't eat all of her.
So I went to Poppy instead, because she is smaller.
It's a love to die for. Cut to Dexter winking at the camera.
Yes.
That lovable scoundrel.
Dexter. God, that was beautiful. Kurt Angle and Stone Cold Steve Austin, or the Rock and Sock Connection?
He's a rock. So the half a sock. You put the rock in the sock and you make a fantastic weapon. You see, two work better than one. Yeah, put your heads together. It's the Rock and Sock Connection.
I'm gonna pick Angle and Austin as long as Angle wears his little hat.
Oh no, I have to sing. I'll do the Abbey Vale song. Well, they gotta have teamwork, working together. Kurt Angle and Stone Cold can do it right. I had one person message me, go, yes, I did go to that school, and that song is exclusive to that school. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Thank you for that vindication, because I thought, oh no, I've just imagined it. Or people would go, were you part of a cult as a child? So yeah, Angle and Stone Cold is my pick. I can't think of anything funny, so I'll move on. American Alpha or the Iconics?
Iconics.
Jake Robinson a talking... Shut up. Jake Robinson a talking snake.
The other answer doesn't matter. It's that. The talking snake is Jake Roberts.
He's gone.
Or Eric Rowan and his spider.
I think Jake Robinson the snake, yeah.
Jake and the snake. It's Jake and the snake. It's Jake and the snake. How does he solve those crimes so quickly? It's easy.
Oh,
with a snake.
Tom, out the ballpark. First pitch of the evening. The other team's throw down their bats and gone, nah, sod it, and going home after that.
Jake there just looking bedraggled at his desk going, I can't figure out who did this crime. And then the snake goes, try the museum. Oh, cheers, snake. Stands up, he's not wearing any trousers, and he knocks his desk over.
I can't get in the museum. Snake, I'm going to put you in the bloody, what they call it, the tubes that are always above the rooms. The vents.
Pipes.
Oh, yeah.
The pipes will go down the pipes.
Your snake sounded like Voldemort then. I can't get in the museum, Harry Potter, abracadabra.
Nice to see you, nice.
Not guilty.
Just to clarify, Bruce Forsyth did nothing wrong in all of his life.
That's why the catchphrase is not guilty.
Yeah. Imagine if there's always something, isn't there, with these people? There's always something.
Oh, God.
We'll get tweets.
Ross, we were doing fine under the Ofcom watch until you went, there's always something, though.
Well, no, because, after this podcast, someone will find a news article and they'll go, oh, well, why didn't you know about this? Why didn't you know about the life and times of Bruce Forsyth?
Actually, no, in the Cultaholic Podcast curse, something's probably going to come out in about 3 hours from now.
Oh. Bruce Forsyth, the talking snake. You know they're going to find out eventually. Shut up.
Who are you talking to, Bruce? Can you not see the snake?
It's nice to see you. Hey, did the line.
I'm an embodiment of your guilt.
Uh-oh, time for some more drink. Best friends or Joe Hendry and Dalton Castle?
Jake Roberts with the snake again.
Yeah, it's got off the rails.
I'll go for best friends, yeah.
Dalton Castle. He'd be fun. Fabulous detective work from Dalton Castle.
Quick, Dalton, you go fix the crime that's been committed, and I'll go eat this entire steak platter. So I get me photo on the wall of this restaurant. Joe Hendry.
That's what it would be. It would be Joe Hendry just like beefing up while Dalton Castle does all the work.
He's a big boy now, isn't he?
Oh, he's massive.
Get him.
He's a big boy.
In a good way. Like he.
Oh yeah,
he
muscular, not like not let himself go like me.
He's gonna drop Brock Lesnar any minute now. It's Joe Hendry.
Drop me, pick him up, and throw him.
Joe Hendry, am I right? Am I right, lads?
Oh yeah.
Jake Roberts and a snake.
Big old Dalton's just like, quick, Joe, the robber's getting away. He's a yard away from you. Joe's just sat down. Oh,
Joe, he's
God,
ran
I'm so
through that
tired from
door.
eating.
Go through that door, Joe. He ran through there. Joe tries to get through the door, but he can't because he's so hench.
No. He
Get
runs
back.
to the door and there's a Joe Hendry shaped hole in the side of the door.
Dale Whitten appears. Hole in the wall!
Daddy Dyer's the side writing notes.
Dale Wilton's snake going, they'll find the bodies eventually. No.
Rest in peace, Dale
I
Whitten.
told you 10 feet wasn't deep. No. It's okay.
Yeah, rest in peace, Dale.
I find that people often don't know that Dale passed away.
Yeah, he was very much so
I've already got
recluse
hope.
for
Is he
many
dead?
years of the last few years of his life, and yeah, devastated when he passed away.
Yeah, he was a recluse because that's what happens when you're evading the police. Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho or Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin? Not guilty.
What was the first one?
Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. The original
Oh, yeah,
circus.
those two. Because, yeah, that should have happened in real life.
Yeah, I'm gonna go give Owens and Jericho more time.
Yeah. Oh, you got me a birthday card. Why is my name on this?
Because it's your birthday.
Oh, that's right. Thanks, Kevin. We're such good friends. Yeah.
Let's solve some crimes.
The Miz and John
Canadian
Morrison.
crimes.
Canadian crimes. That's
Who
right. with
stole the
Canadian
maple syrup?
Canadian crimes. Canadian crimes. Canadian crimes.
Canadian crimes.
Canadian
Canadian
crimes.
crimes.
Canadian crimes. Canadian crimes. Canadian crimes.
When you see us coming, better run for cover.
I'm a donkey and he's a what's his
Mother.
Canadian police.
They're on. They're gonna steak on you, cook you like Canadian bake on you. Canadian crimes.
Canadian
Tim
crimes.
Hortons.
You know they'll find the coffee eventually.
Canadian snakes. Canadian
Canadian
snakes.
snakes.
Canadian snakes that only they can see.
By the way, if you like the nonsense that I've added to the podcast this week, listen to the classic SmackDown review tomorrow. It's always a nice platform to get the numbers up on that. So listen to the SmackDown review because it's more of this. Less snakes though.
The Miz and John Morrison or Braun Strowman and Nicholas.
Ooh, Strowman and Nicholas, but Nicholas is the brains of the operation.
Like
course,
Danny DeVito.
Yeah, and they're twins.
Imagine Nicholas as Danny DeVito. Or Danny DeVito as Nicholas. Yeah.
Hey, I'm a kid.
I'm walking here being a kid.
Braun's like Arnie.
Give him an hand.
Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, or Danhausen and PCO, in brackets, no really, they're a team in Ring of Honor now. Mad right, I didn't even know that.
Danhausen and PCO.
Yeah,
they're a
those two.
brilliant team. It's just very nice, very evil. I like Danhausen and PCO.
I could see PCO being like, so your gimmick is that you say Hausen after everything? Wow, that's so unrealistic. BRB, I'm in my mid-50s and I get electrocution to do front flips to the outside.
I like how they doubled down on the PCO thing. I think it was at Final Battle, maybe 2019, where PCO beat Roosh. But halfway through the match, PCO gets jump-started by a car. Wrestling is best when it's inherently mornings. I've always said that, and that was a firm example of that.
PCO versus the Puppet, coming to a straight-to-DVD WWE Studios release. That's not, is it? Keep up the good work from James and Natalie. Oh, it came from a crime-fighting duo in Cambridge, England. Thank you very much, James and Natalie. I'm sure that's everything you hoped it was going to be and more. Bless you. And if you have any more flights of fancy, then please send them our way at mailbag@cultaholic.com.
They're going to find the bodies.
Silence.
Canadian crimes. Canadian crimes. Canadian crimes.
Canadian crime.
It's Cultaholics.
Oh, what a long, stupid podcast.
Is it normally this long?
Canadian crimes.
It's normally this
Canadian crimes.
Canadian crimes. I've bought this from the train station at Birmingham on my way back because it's been swelteringly hot in the northeast. Ross, are you sweating a lot at the moment?
I've got aircon in the office.
Oh,
it's a cool 18 degrees here.
It's absolutely.
But like,
brilliant.
if you walk out the door, it's like getting off a plane in Alicante. It just hits you, the heat.
Yeah.
Alicante. That's going to sound more Jory there if I tried. Get to Benidorm, get off the plane, Alicante.
Get a can, get a couple of cans on the plane, then you get off at Alicante. You go straight to Lineker's, and you go and get butter, and then you
And then
go
that
and
guy
watch...
watched Sticky Vicky pull a full English breakfast out of her vagina.
Oh my God, no.
I have actually seen that in person, believe it or not.
Then you have
I've
egg and
only heard
chips.
the myth of Sticky Vicky, by the way. I never actually seen.
The worst thing, Matthew, about Sticky Vicky in Benidorm, who is a performer, by the way, people who don't know, who she gets on stage and she pulls things out of a person. Why is it a thing to begin with? I've got no idea. But the worst thing about her, Matthew, is that when I went and saw her, because it was sort of a it's a bucket list thing when you go to Benidorm.
Oh, why would you say bucket on that?
She's a bucket list, some would say.
How dare you? She's a performer. The worst thing about it is her daughter appeared on the show with her, and she has trained her daughter
During birth.
No,
Oh
she has
my
trained her
God.
daughter to do the same thing as her.
Amazing.
She's passed it on, the lineage of the Sticky Vicky.
Can you imagine the training like they'll be doing for that? Like, she'll be getting the daughter will be getting upset one day, like, can I get 3 ping pong balls out, Mum? She's like, hey, look, it's okay. It's gonna take time.
The most incredible feat she achieved when I saw her was she opened a beer bottle, like a legitimate beer bottle, like a Budweiser bottle. And then took the cap off.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you
Trying to think what
remember holidays?
Are we going to get cancelled for this discussion? It's a thing that happened. I was
It's
there.
a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real
thing.
person. Yeah, that's how she makes a living.
I love that, like, Jacques
British
Villeneuve followed his dad's footsteps to, win the tournament one year, and then Sticky Vicky's daughter followed in her. There's no chance in hell any of this is going to be kept in.
Oh yeah, that'll be fine.
Can't keep that in.
Why? We haven't said anything wrong or salacious or
She's a performer.
Everything about that was wrong.
not PG.
She's a performer.
I mean, it's like the Bruno Sammartino of that world.
Not
David
guilty.
following in her footsteps.
The big question this week.
She's the David Sammartino of
David Sammartino.
of Alicante performers.
Yeah. Benidorm's
The
a
Eric
strange
Watts.
place.
You hope for a Randy Orton and you get an Eric Watts.
That's what I said. The poster outside says, the David Flair of taking things out from under there. It's all got to rhyme, you see. NXT Takeover is this Saturday or Sunday. Who cares?
Sunday.
We'll not be watching. I mean, sorry. We're obviously very, very hyped up and enthused for this massive takeover. Let's have a quick look at the card for In Your House 2. The roadie will be taking on the 1-2-3 Kid. Men on a Mission, Razor Ramon, Savio Vega, and Shawn Michaels for Jeff Jarrett. The IC title should be very exciting. I kid.
Sorry, I got a watch-along coming on of that pay-per-view in a few weeks' time.
Oh, fantastic. The Jeff Jarrett pay-per-view where he gets hyped up more than anybody else on the card, and then he immediately leaves the company.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Wow. Awesome stuff. So, no, Maffew, that wasn't funny. Okay, fine. The Takeover this Saturday, weekend period. Karrion Kross defends his title against Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Pete Dunne in a fatal 5-way match. Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li. Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. Bronson Reed and MSK will defend both their tag titles and the North American tag title. Winner takes it all against Legado del Fantasma. But that is just the build-up to the finale. That is, of course, our main event, and hopefully it's NXT's as well. Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight, the ladder match for the $1 Million Championship. Tom, what do you think is going to be the best match on that card?
You've just said it.
I know, right?
I think that I honestly think that Grimes and LA Knight have an amazing opportunity to steal the night here. Their feud has been one of the more fun parts of NXT over the past month. Grimes and Ted DiBiase going back and forth in segments has just been excellent. LA Knight coming into this, it's the perfect place to slot LA Knight. And I just think that they are positioned here in a card where I think the focus will be on that 5-way main event, but I think that they've got the chance to steal the night, absolutely steal the night. And whilst I think, I don't think we've had a bad takeover in all the time that we've had takeovers. We've had some good, we've had some great, we've had some excellent, never had a bad one. And I don't think there'll be a bad match. I think everybody's going to bring their working boots and go for it. But I think the energy at the CWC for Grimes versus Knight is going to be particularly high. And I think they're going to rise to the occasion as well. So this is Grimes and Knight's big night. I'm picking the $1 Million Ladder match as the best match of the night.
Ross.
Oh, what a night.
Late December back in 63.
Sticky Vicky Punk. I'm going to go for Cameron Grimes against LA Knight as well. I've said on this podcast a few times, Maffew will have heard, that there's a bit of a disconnect for me when it comes to NXT these days. I think they've got the balance of entertainment and try to take wrestling too seriously with too many wrestlers with kick pads and impressive flips and good moves. There's too much of that, and it only goes so far with me, that kind of wrestling. So to see a proper pair of gimmicks in LA Knight and Cameron Grimes going at it with Ted DiBiase in it as well is really sort of recaptured my imagination for NXT. I want to see more of this going forward, because that's what it used to be back in the day, back in the heyday of 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Those are the heydays, weren't they? That's years. 4 years. Yeah. I'm just rambling now. But Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight for the best match on the card. But I am intrigued by the main event. Well, I presume will be the main event as well. Just with everyone apart from Karrion Kross not taking Karrion Kross seriously. Is that leading to Karrion Kross, as Tom put earlier, just to pack him and stack him? I hope so. So there's intrigue there for me as well. But I'd
like to see that. I think that they could have some fun with that match and just have Kross be utterly dominant amongst it. And I don't think it hurts anybody.
No,
they're all guys who will be fine should they not lose this match. Should they not win this match, they will all be fine. Especially if they're also the sort of characters that even if it's a humiliating loss, it's something that they can build on. I don't think they'll do it, but the idea of stacking them and pinning them, even something like that, is as humiliating as that is. They're such great performers that they can use stuff like that to their advantage. They can come out of that with a newfound momentum. There's storylines that can peel off from this, from here. But I think it'll be good. It won't be a $1 Million Ladder match, admittedly, but I think it'll still be a good fun affair.
Wise words there. I'm going to try and think of a match that isn't the ladder match, but that is my pick there. Well,
you've got the winner take all match, and I like when they do this. They don't do it very often in wrestling, where they just chuck a whole bunch of belts on the line in one match. I quite like that.
They have Poppy sing the ABBA cover during as the match is taking place.
God, imagine her singing that. The winner takes it all.
Takes it. Triple H there behind it. Takes it all.
William Regal. The winner takes it all.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Yes, that will be fun. Yeah, and if there's no winner by the end of the match, then all the titles are stripped and given to Poppy. Yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to go with Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon. Because Ember Moon, she's been simmering. She's been slow cooking, I think. They're letting her breathe like an Aleister Black storyline that isn't going to happen. And now's the time for her to get up and have a competitive match. It's the same Shotzi Blackheart's currently injured. But Ember Moon has been, she was up, then she was down, then she was up. She was like, she's kind of still here. But now she's back again. And I'm happy to see her.
I think it'll be something, because Shotzi's injured, I can see Ember rising to the occasion on this one, because there is that competitive spirit within NXT that I really like, and I know that sometimes some of the matches can feel very samey, but there is still that sort of passion to try and have the best match of the night from everybody, and I like it. And with Ember Moon, it's a chance that without a tag partner to kind of cement herself back in the singles division. She came back with a lot of energy, with a lot of fire, and then it kind of dissipated. She became a champion of a division with no competitors again. But yeah, I think I could see a rise into this. I think Raquel Gonzalez, and I was saying, I always say this. I was saying this a lot when we were doing Graded. I think Raquel Gonzalez is somebody to watch going forward. I think she's somebody that you will build that division round, and somebody that I think will no doubt do well on Raw or SmackDown down the line.
Tom, will you stop trying to work out where it's going?
Sorry, Trips. Sorry, Trips. I forgot. I should only enjoy it the way that you tell me to enjoy it. My apologies.
Trips. Don't call me Trips, you little bollocks.
That's one thing I do like about Meltzer, is that he refuses to call him, in the newsletter as well, refuses to call him Triple H. It's always Paul Levesque. It's always Levesque did this, Levesque did that. Because Dave knows his real name.
He used to in The Observer, in the old issues of The Observer, for the classic reviews, I always end up going back through The Observer. He's just showing off. He'll always put their ring name in brackets their real name. So if he's talking about a match between Triple H, brackets, Paul Levesque, beat Steve Austin, brackets, Steve Williams.
Oh, Nash was talking about that one time in an interview. We talked about the Syracuse incident with Shawn Michaels and 15 Marines, 200 Marines that were there, the 300 Spartans that were out that night. And we're going over the report. I don't know which dirt sheet it was, but he was quoting that he saw. It very amused him whenever he saw it eventually. It was just like, Bulldog and Sean Waltman were there. And next to Sean Waltman said, in brackets, legit tough guy. And I was like, ha ha ha! Like, who told you that? Oh, is that what you guys thought all these years? No.
Was that sarcasm from Dave or not? Or was it
I
just...
don't know. I think it was him being like Dave. Who can tell? It's very hard to judge his sarcasm. But Natch was like, yeah. Oh, Sean won't want to deal with those Marines.
He's like the Yellow Pages upside down. He's very difficult to read.
Oh, mate, that's a good. Write that one down, Tom. Oh, you did. Okay,
I did.
So. Yeah, so NXT should be... Look, there's enough there for me to whet my appetite and watch a bit of NXT this weekend. I don't always watch everything on NXT. Like, same thing, I don't watch everything on Raw. Because I am, as I said last week, cutting out the bits that I'm like, I'm just not into this. It's going to keep my sanity high. And I think that's a sensible thing. Because I feel great. But what would you think, Ross? Are you still watching every single segment of every single wrestling show?
I do, because I appear on a podcast where one of the biggest segments is to review the wrestling. That is the sole reason.
Not guilty.
That's the honest truth, though. If I didn't have to watch it for the podcast, I would watch SmackDown happily. I would watch AEW happily. I would watch the Cameron Grimes and LA Knight bits of NXT happily. I would, But outside of that, I'd happily skip Raw. I don't watch NXT UK unless you get like a Dragunov versus Volta match come around or something like that.
Actually, we have missed a big bit of news from this week in the wrestling, as you mentioned.
That's right, Tom. That's
NXT UK.
Zack Ryder showed up at GC Dub to challenge Nick Gage.
That's
going to be great. Zack Ryder, deathmatch worker, so good.
That's good, though. New NXT UK Women's Champion as of last night. 600 plus days Kaylee Ray had the Women's Championship, defeated by Meiko Satomura last night on NXT UK. They did streamers at the end and everything. It was lovely. And Triple H did a Photoshop. I think he's given John Iley a ring. He did a Photoshop of him with Meiko Satomura pointing at her with the championship over his shoulder because he can't be there to do it in person.
When you say streamers, what we're talking here, we're talking like Joseph Connors with a party popper.
No, like just going onto Twitch and just getting people like Ashley Roboto and all that. Just
Chidi, Dream, Ninja, they're all there.
Hoying him over the top of them. Taco over the top.
Consumable Pete.
I'm not much of a Twitcher myself, but I flicked it on the other day just to see what was going on. And down the side, when you look on desktop, down the side, you get all the channels sort of recommended to you. I clicked on one of them, just a random one, and there was a middle-aged lady just sat on poolside in a bikini. That was her stream.
Stop talking about Sticky Vicky, for the love of God, Ross.
But I was like, is that Twitch streamers now? Is that what it is?
Well, there's the whole category now for Twitch, which is streams from a paddling pool, essentially, because there's big money in popping a bikini on and sitting at a paddling pool and playing games and chatting to people. There's money, there's gold in them there else. I'm waiting for mine to arrive from Amazon. There's money to be made there. But they've now, because that's become such a popular part of Twitch, and it's all fallen under the same category as just chatting. They've had to recategorize it. So people who do just chatting, like Love You by Fridays at 4 p.m. British summertime, twitch.tv/Cultaholic, it allows us to cut through a little bit more from people who want to just look at some ladies' Bristols whilst they're having a lovely little swim.
So what's that new category called then?
I think it is just called hot tubs/pools.
Coming to Cultaholic next week, Ross Tweddle does the Chief Wiggum in a paddling pool thing.
Mate, I think if that was your big Twitch return, I think we could quit the YouTube game.
Yeah.
I think we could do away with YouTube and just exclusively be on Twitch going forward.
Me and Tom will quit because of how successful you are. Yeah, do it, Ross.
I just imagine it'd be like lots of like Bruce Forsyth type sat at home doing that bit, on Dodgeball when the guy's cleaning the car and the guy's stood behind him like rubbing his belly button. People be watching me on Twitch just going, oh yeah.
Not guilty. But I think with what you said there, if it wasn't my job, I don't think I'd watch as much of the wrestling as I do. I think that it was weird because before I started here, like wrestling was my hobby. And now it became my job, so I've had to go, I need to find a new hobby, because now this is all my time. I need to have something that isn't wrestling that I can put my energies into. And it's a great job, super happy to have it, but it's one of them where you do need time where you're not looking at wrestling all the time. You desperately need that. Because
I've never watched. Well, I've seen the Wrestle Kingdoms and whatnot, but I don't keep up with New Japan at all, just because of that. Like, you do need. It's a hard thing to try and convey to people, but you do need time away from wrestling, and you have to sort of pick and choose where that time away comes. So when I'll get pelted sometimes, going, "Oh, how can you not be a fan of New Japan? The in-ring product is so sensational." It's like, I just want time off, You've got to pick and choose your battles, haven't you?
And you know what? It's actually we whinge about how bad Raw is and stuff. It's actually a great time to be a wrestling fan because there is just so much. We've talked for like nearly over 3 hours now, and there's still stuff this week that we haven't talked about because there is so much stuff happening in the wrestling. We haven't mentioned the fact that tomorrow the Impact World Championship will be defended in an AEW ring. Kenny Omega's facing Moose in a match that will be taking place at Daly's Place. Like, that's the thing that I announced last night on Impact. I presume they're going to tape it tonight for a pay-per-view tomorrow, which is a strange thing, but there's that. But there's so many, Impact has just been brilliant, and Impact is always one of those promotions that is, for not just us, by so many outlets, woefully underserved because they've been grafting so much during lockdown. There's just lots of things like that because there's so much of it. It's great to be a fan. It's difficult to keep across it when you're one outlet and you have to, so much of your energy goes into other things. And then when you want to come away from it, you need stuff that isn't wrestling. What is the stuff that you do that isn't wrestling out of interest, lads?
Well, actually, before you just go off on that, I've seen how great it is for wrestling, like the world of wrestling, is Impact, New Japan, etc. Yeah, you're right. There's all these other stuff that we don't talk about because no one cares or click on it, and that's what this is all about. Cha-ching. The other companies, the indie companies, I haven't appreciated how much I really was into the indie companies this side of the world, the UK, Ireland, Germany, the deathmatch places like Freedoms, Big Japan who are running, and so on and so forth, until they're not there, and you realize, it's just this. It's just the WWE or the AEW. And you're like, okay, I'm not always in the mood for that. I don't eat the same food every day. I don't go to the same place. I don't like going to the same thing. What's the thing? Familiarity breeds contempt. Yeah, I loved it when there was variety. I loved there was different things and there was this alternative. Now there isn't. Go watch NXT. It's like, no, that's not an alternative.
That's not what I mean.
I'm sick of Coke so much, I'll go drink Pepsi. No, that's not what I meant. So, yeah, you need variety. Right now, I've been, things I'm doing outside of wrestling, Tom, that's your question. I've been reading Skullface Manga Seller. I forgot what the actual proper name of the book is, but I didn't realize it'd been serialized, and Traveling Man in Newcastle's opened up again, so I thought I'd buy some stuff. Going to start reading The Shining, the book.
Nice.
Because I never read it. Love the film, so I just want to see what that's like. Be going to the gym more because we have time limits, so I get more done than I did beforehand because it's a rush, and I spend the next 2 days feeling completely shattered and having no energy whatsoever, so it's fantastic. And I'm enjoying some of the sun, the glorious, amazing sun that we're having right now in Newcastle. So variety is the spice of life. I do the wrestling and I do other stuff in my life because it can't just be this. What about yourself, Ross?
I drink.
Jesus.
No, the drinking has gone back up though since the past couple of months, which is because lockdown was fantastic for not drinking. I found you just didn't want to drink because of everything that was going on. But it's always been sport for me. Famously, not famously, I'm bigging myself up a bit too much. Wrestling was my secondary subject when I applied for a job at What Culture because I originally applied for a job as a Newcastle United writer, and the wrestling thing just took over. So it's always been sport for me. Football, cricket, anything like that, I'm interested in. And I've been getting into more sort of. So I've got Sky installed at home, lads. I went Billy Big bollocks over here.
Somebody's doing all right.
Not really. It's all gone now. The money. Every month, but yeah, I've been getting into more American comedies like Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've been going, make me way through and stuff like that. So, and I've always liked, I like sitting down with an autobiography. So I've been making my way through Gaz's.
Nice.
Oh.
And to be honest with you, I need to do what he did because he needed to lose weight for Newcastle United. So he went running with a bin bag on to make him sweat more. So maybe I should do that on my walks, just wear a bin bag and make noises like I'm just crinkling along with my bin bag on.
That's a good shout, that is, actually.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I might try it because like I've started Couch to 5K, and I'm just realised I've just got big. This is a problem now. Like I need to get, and I've got a wedding to attend next month. It's not mine, but I've got a wedding to attend to, so I thought I've got to get down to a reasonable size. I want to look like hot to trot in a suit by the middle of July. So Couch to 5K it is, and I started that, and it's been quite nice to do that as something that isn't work related, to have something else that is that I can focus on and listen to music as I go. I'm big into radio. I bang on about it enough. In fact, in terms of books and stuff, I started this. I'll give it a plug just in case OC sees it. Christian O'Connell's book about him moving to Australia and working and joining Gold in Australia and taking it from like number 17 to number 1. It's a brilliant book. I mainly do a lot of radio nonsense, which isn't this. I was chatting to Gaz's mate yesterday, Ross, on the radio.
Malmote. Sorry. That was almost on instinct. It's like you said that and it had to happen. Sorry, carry on.
No, that's a funnier answer. I wish it was Real Mode now. On Radio Newcastle, we had David Seaman on. It was nice to have a chat with David Seaman. He told a fun story about... Oh, he's got the best laugh, hasn't
Every
he?
sentence ends with...
He's a very lovely, laughy man. And he was telling me about a story where he kept saving Gaza. Gaza kept falling in the lake. A paparazzi caught them fishing. They chased his paparazzi. This is during Euro 96. He chased his paparazzi through like this fishery. And when they caught him, he refused to give him the tape from the camera. So Gaza grabbed his phone and smashed it, and then let his tires. No, sorry, I tell a lie. He didn't smash the phone. He let the guy's tires down on his car. The guy managed to get away, but he dropped his phone. Gaza has the phone, and they clicked redial on the phone, and the first number that it went to was Piers Morgan of the Daily Mirror. So David Seaman and Gaza that day just lit up Piers Morgan's answer phone with how angry they were. They'd sent a paparazzi to take photos of them fishing. Good laugh that was. Yes, I do mostly that. It's quite nice to have things that isn't wrestling, is the point that I was making. And if you're a wrestling fan, make sure you have that as well.
That being said, I've to go to sleep now. Wrestling podcast is what I listen to. Conrad, I've gone to sleep more times to Conrad than anybody else. Which isn't.
Do you own a radio home? Of course you do.
That sounds like a terrible thing, but the Geico advert he's got in his more recent ones is just like, you need Geico. That's the end of the advert. Geico. that's the advert done.
I think it's funny when you listen to it and you're getting a bit lucid and falling asleep, and he's like, "So check me up, Bruce. What was the idea in this?" And it's like this awful idea. It's so terrible and stuff like that. Like, do you own or rent your home? Every shows there's like it's so seamless, the production, that you're like, wait, why is he just? We almost expect Bruce to say, "Are you all right, mate?" Like midway through, but it's just there's no transition. It's not like
autopilot.
yeah, there's not like the old Lord Alfred Hayes going commercial consideration paid for by the following. It's just straight into it.
They just drop it in. I like the parts on Grilling JR where they talk about Blue Chew and JR describes how sexually active he still is. Because that's that. I mean, like, I'm happy for you, but they don't need to tell me about that. Just talk to me about what Austin was like at King of the Ring '98.
Shout out to My World as well. I've started listening to those with Jeff Jarrett. Really, really good.
That is very good. I would like the fact that he did 2 episodes on although he did, I know it's just the one. He did the episode on WWA, which was the promotion before TNA wrestling, and he's very articulate, very fun gentleman. I like that one as well.
I know he gets some stick, Conrad, because he's everywhere, but there is a reason that he's everywhere. It's like his podcasts are really good, aren't they?
He's brilliant, and I get really annoyed when people. I don't get why people get annoyed with him. Obviously, apart from the fact that he is everywhere, like you say, but that's because he's good. Yeah. But in terms of like his style, like he very much sets up, he sets the pins up and the guests always knock them down, and that's what a good interviewer does. I think he's ace. I'm surprised. I think a lot of it must stem from jealousy that Conrad gets to live his dream and chat to all these brilliant people every day, and people just don't like it. Like, why is he doing it and not me? I think he's brilliant. Top marks to Conrad. Cheers, man.
I thought you would have hated him because you're on the race to interview these ex-WWE dudes and stuff. You want from Thunderdome Graps, he wants some free mini-series. So.
It's me, Conrad, Chris Van Vliet. We're all chasing each other. Jericho's in there as well. As soon as somebody gets released, like we're just like albatross. Yeah. Just circle in. Come on the podcast. Come and have a chat.
Wait. 3, 2, 1, go! It's mad sprint.
I can't because there's a released superstar who was doing Talk Is Jericho and Straight to Hell on the same day, and that's his first interview since he got released. No. So I'm in a race. I'm on a race that day to get it published before Jericho. Get in there before the huge scope.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
Might have just said too much there.
No, that's fine.
Can I just say that I've always disliked Jericho, especially that podcast that he does on the same day as us. It's for no reason whatsoever. I feel like dropping that in.
Damn,
but you know what?
Jericho.
That's right. One thing that Jericho's podcast does not have is length. But that's where we come in. The Cultaholic different. The length, girth, and some other dimensions as well. I think we'll be in everyone this week. I think we'll wrap things up now. Ross, what have you got for us this week before the next podcast comes out?
Before the next podcast comes out, my Twitch streams are moving to a Wednesday. I think that'll start next week. Maybe. I'm not too sure. It could be the week after. Who knows what might happen. I'm shooting a Straight to Hell with a current AEW roster member on Monday, but I don't like to say who it is just in case they cancel, because I had one penciled for this Monday with a very prominent YouTuber from over the past 10 years, but that had to be cancelled for reasons that were very valid and I understood. So that'll get done in the future. Twitch, Straight to Hell. That is just about it, I think.
Tom.
Desert Island Graps on the podcast Sunday is with... I'm actually, you know what? This is a really cool one to get. He used to work at Collider. He is from the Schmodown. He's a former WWE writer. Christian Harloff is on Sunday. We have a lovely chat. It turns out that wrestling storylines make really good bedtime stories for kids. He gives a good example of that on Desert Island Graps on Sunday. There's another one on Wednesday featuring Luke Hawks, who was, he's in a tag team with his son, PJ Hawks. You see them popping up on the indie scene everywhere. He's also works as a stuntman, and he's been in fights with The Rock on Fate of the Furious, and he's been adamantium clawed through the head by Hugh Jackman in Logan. So he's got stories to tell, and he joins me on Wednesday for Desert Island Graps. And do you know what? We shouldn't plug outside our world, but I will do anyway. I'm on Pro Wrestling for Life, Xbox podcast. As it dropped last night at time of recording. So he invites random people on from like channels and stuff to ask him questions about a certain thing. And I thought it was a match that I'd have to ask him about. So I pitched a match, but then I watch other people's, and like they've just like Dave Meltzer's on there talking about his entire run in Japan, and Conrad's on talking about him in the NWO, and I've gone, can we talk about Capital Carnage '98, please, you versus The Rock? I was like, and I love it, and bless him. He puts up with about 1 million questions I have about like WWF UK only pay-per-views and stuff. We talk about the UK tribute scene as well, so we give some love to the UK X-Pac that did the rounds then. But that's on his channel right now. Also subscribe to the podcast feed, which you have done if you're listening to this in your ears. So thank you. If you're not, get it, because it's daily wrestling news on there, classic reviews, watch-alongs, documentaries, and more episodes of Desline and Grap, so you could shake a not guilty Bruce Forsyth snake at. So that's all my things. What about you, Maff? What's going on with you?
Slow week for you then, Tom.
Just a slow week. I'm easing in next week.
Hopefully you'll pick up then. I, for Cultaholic, will be, of course, joining Tom for the SmackDown podcast on Saturday. I talk about SmackDown on a Saturday. No, yes! SmackDown 2000 on a Saturday, you silly billies. That's right. No one cares about modern wrestling. And then I will be, doing something productive. Will I be interviewing a famous superstar for the channel? Will I be on someone else's podcast? No, I'll be playing Sonic 2 on Twitch at 6 p.m. just to prove that I'm a bigger Sonic nerd than Tom.
Oi, let's not play that game. Oh, live reactions to In Your House on Sunday with Adam on the YouTube channel.
Oh, it's Sunday. Fantastic. Don't watch on Saturday then.
No, don't watch on Saturday.
Watch me play Sonic 2.
Do that instead. What happened at and graded on Monday? Should
Wonderful.
give them a plug, really, shouldn't we? Before we go away.
We should, because we haven't plugged enough stuff this podcast. All that stuff and more on Cultaholic. Make sure you like and subscribe. The Patreon picks, patreon.com/Cultaholic and mailbag at cultaholic.com. Open for business as always. But for now, I've been Maffew, that has been Ross, that has been Tom, and that has been Tom's cat in the background making a cameo appearance. And that was Bruce Forsyth. For now, I'd like to end the podcast by putting our fist up to the webcam. On a count of 3, say the famous expression. 1, 2, 3. Join us.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Oh, for Sticky Vicky.